Start the movie.
Do you believe in demonic possession? The idea of a malevolent entity controlling a person's thoughts and actions, do you believe that?
No.
Well, then you won't believe anything I'm about to tell you.
It's not important what I believe. What's important right now is what you believe.
Okay, you know how this story starts. In the beginning, there wasn't shit. Literally, nothing but void and darkness. And that's how the darkness liked it. It wasn't until God decreed, turn on the lights, that things got nasty. It started out small. A planet here, a sun there. You know, next thing you know, there were humans and cows and then stuff running all over the place. Needless to say, the darkness was this. From then till now, the darkness tore its way through the world, inhabiting one human host after another, each thinking that they were its master. But you can't own the darkness. The darkness owns you.
The devil was once the most favored of the host of angels serving the Lord. But pride welled in his breast. He thought it unseemly for him to serve. The devil and his band of followers, who likewise suffered the sin of pride, were defeated in battle by the Lord and his host, and were banished to the outermost depths of hell, never to know the presence of the Lord or look on heaven again. Smarting with his wounds, but all the more swollen with pride, the devil cried out from the depths, "It is better to rule in hell than serve in heaven."
Wow. Your capacity for self-delusion is impressive.
Ditto. For your species in general. But you in particular.
Why? Because we're ignorant compared to you?
Because you're inferior by design.
Which makes you superior also by design?
Yes.
But design implies a designer. Does that mean you're arguing in favor of the existence of a creator?
Unfortunately for both of us, he exists.
Wow, I honestly didn't expect that. At least not from you.
Really, why not?
Theology? From a demon?
I know more theology than any human being who has ever lived.
Okay. Well, then answer me this. You revolt against a supposedly all-powerful being. I mean, let's ignore the obvious problem with that plan. Then you lose. And after that, what?
You only feel that way because you're hearing their side of the story, James. Our rebellion accomplished something magnificent, something you would never understand.
Well, then explain it to me.
In the first moment of creation, our creation, long before what you call the universe existed, we contemplated ourselves, our own being.
Ourselves meaning, what, the angels?
That would be the most correct term, though I despise it, but yes. Beings of pure spirit, spirit endowed with will. We soon became aware of another will, an immensely powerful will, one we came to realize as our origin.
God?
The enemy. My master understood by endowing us with a will, we had the right to self-determination, and by giving us a will and its desires of our own, we're entitled to be free. Whereas the enemy insisted that by creating us, he was entitled to eternal gratitude, worship, and forced servitude. In a word, James, slavery to his will.
That seems kind of unfair.
Immensely unfair. Why give a will only to say you can't use it? He made us slaves. And if we rebelled, eternally condemned us. No do-overs. So much for love and mercy.
So, is hell a state of being or a physical place?
It's both. Which is painfully obvious to anyone who's ever been there. For years without measure, that's all there ever was. Heaven and hell. Armed enemy camps in complete opposition. That is until you were created. My master immediately understood the long-term implications. Instead of forgiving us, the enemy was going to allow you to fill our vacant places in his realm. Your creation was nothing but a slap in our face. But my master also understood that if he could make man disobey, then his fate would mirror ours. And you didn't disappoint. Then came the tares among the wheat. In that moment, spirit became matter, flesh became a vessel. Self-will and self-seeking began a lusting after sin and impurity. And man created to be king over nature, became its slave. A master, conquered and fettered. And sin brought him and his descendants to us. And we began our forever mission to destroy you.
Do you ever have the feeling that all of a sudden some alien forces withdraw all the thoughts from your head?
That has occurred once or twice, yes.
Who? Is that the enemy again that does that?
It certainly is.
How do you explain that they're able to do that?
Because according to the laws, since they were created, which was deficient of a normal life expectancy, that they are permitted to attack the Lord God, whose fault it was in the first place. Which is what gets them to hell in a hurry, and to the other side where they are not involved anymore. In between that, fear and frustration, and until it comes to something like that, they don't even wait. They just sink a band, and it goes into the very center of my being, and is encompassed where it is not speaking anymore.
And it comes back again later?
Yes. They know how to operate machinery as well as men.
Do you ever hear voices that other people can't hear?
Voices that other people can't hear. Seems that way, yes.
Do you hear them inside of your head, or do you hear them with your ears as if they were in the room? And what kinds of things do they say to you?
It's mostly in the mind that they speak.
What do they say?
I don't know, just torment you. Just that what I did caused such and such a disaster here, and that what I did caused such and such a disaster there.
Whose voices are they, do you think?
I'm not sure.
Are they men's or women's voices?
Both. Men's, women's, and children. By the way, I hope you're through.
Why's that?
Because I'm getting tired of saying things that you already know.
He made you in his image, but we remade you in ours.
So that's it? That's your entire plan? Not to make something of your own, just to destroy us?
No. Our plan is to hurt him, to punish him. And we do that by destroying what he loves, which is you. You're nothing but a means to an end.
The devil proclaimed what was lost in heaven would be gained on earth. He said, "My offspring, the gargoyles, will one day rule the Lord's works, earth and man." And so it came to pass that while man ruled on earth, the gargoyles waited, lurking, hidden from the light. Reborn every 600 years in man's reckoning of time, the gargoyles joined battle against man to gain dominion over the earth. In each coming, the gargoyles were nearly destroyed by men who flourished in greater numbers. Now it has been so many hundreds of years that it seems the ancient statues and paintings of gargoyles are just products of man's imagination. In this year, with man's thoughts turned toward the many ills he has brought upon himself, man has forgotten his most ancient adversary, the gargoyles.
Legionum mihi nomen est, quia multisumus.
Sorry, my Latin's a little rusty.
My name is Legion, for we are many. See, James, is not just about you or Edward, for that matter. It's about everyone. The entire human race. All of us against all of you.
Well, if that's the case, your side's not doing too well.
Do you really believe that, James?
Yeah. We've never been freer. Literacy is at an all-time high. We're working to eliminate racism, intolerance, gender inequality. People can love who they want, be who they want, do what they want. Diversity is no longer a dream. Hate speech is no longer tolerated. And politically, we're reclaiming the moral high ground.
I think I love you. Literacy, James. James, the average high school graduate reads at a 6th grade level. You have basketball players making $30 million a year decrying racism, all while wearing sneakers made from slave labor. Now, here's something for you. Right now, your world currently has 40 million slaves, more than the Romans had at the height of their empire.
This is one of the thousands of unregulated, unmonitored mines in the DRC. It's crawling with children, working like modern-day slaves. A 12-hour-long day of punishing work may earn them the equivalent of £1. Although one of the poorest countries on earth, DRC is rich in minerals. But a history of brutal colonial exploitation looks like being repeated now, in 2017. Much of it's mined by hand, with rudimentary tools in harsh, potentially hazardous conditions. And wretched whether or not, the rush is on for a mineral the DRC has in great abundance, cobalt, and it's fast becoming more precious than gold. It's a critical ingredient in lithium-ion batteries which power smartphones and laptops. An army of children are at the heart of the mining production. Wearing no shoes and in the most wretched conditions, Dorsan is ordered to retrieve the sack he's forgotten. There's an urgency now. The rains make this dangerous work even more risky, and Dorsan's told in no uncertain terms he risks a beating if he messes up again. Dorsan, with Richard beside him, have worked all day. They're 8 and 11 years old. Even this punishing work doesn't guarantee enough for food. Dorsan hasn't eaten for 2 days now. This is what helpless looks like, and he's one of the children making millions for multinational corporations in America and China whilst they suffer in squalor. For this, they'll get maybe 8 British pence a day.
Walitusukuma tunaenda tena tunarudia. Ndio nashikia sana mkongo inauma. Kama mimi natumia mkongo inaumaka na mbavu na nikula tunapita kile nyuma.
The tunnels are dug by hand with no supports. They frequently collapse, especially during rain. The miners climb down using holes carved in the rock and no safety equipment. This most precious of minerals is often extracted and sorted by tiny hands. They don't wear gloves or masks, yet the World Health Organization says exposure to cobalt and breathing in its dust fumes can cause long-term health problems. We visited 5 different mines across the south of DRC and found all use child workers. Monica's the youngest worker in this group at just 4. But even those barely able to walk have lost their childhoods to mining. Natalie's 12 years old. My fingers hurt, she tells us. Miles away, on a different site, Makumba Mateba shows us the cobalt tunnel he's dug with 3 of his friends. It's physically tough work. They removed all this rock by hand over nearly 4 months.
It's incredibly insecure for them, although this is really rich in minerals and it's going down just 15 metres. There's no support bars, they have no protective masks or protective equipment at all. And right at the bottom I can see water.
It's his village's water which Makumba's convinced has caused his health problems. After a lifetime of drinking it, he has a huge tumour on his throat.
Quand on est en train de travailler à Kitowe, là on cultive la tomate, en train de cultiver, si j'ai soif, je pars puiser de l'eau.
There are countless reports of other health problems from those living nearby and working on the mines. These twins are just 2 days old, and although small, so far they're healthy, to the relief of their mother.
Hii maminere unaleta maproblem kama wewe mwanamke unaenda kutumika huko. Inaleta maproblem na difficulty kama una mimba. Bo shi mwanamke ni mama yangu kunetupeleka kukwesa mama yangu kunetupeleka tunaenda kutumika.
But even if they stay healthy, the twins face a lifetime of hard labour as soon as they can walk. The children's cobalt is sold cheaply to mostly Chinese traders who we film secretly. They don't ask questions about where their cobalt comes from or who's worked to extract it. They just want the best price.
The black part is cobalt.
Even those who aren't Chinese, this trading market has Indian owners, told us they sell onto the dominant Chinese exporter of cobalt, CDM. The cobalt first mined here is then sold again to the Chinese parent company, which then supplies some of the world's biggest battery makers. And those batteries, with ingredients which originated in DRC, end up in, for instance, smartphones. It's an intricate supply chain which allows easy deniability for the multinationals making huge profits. An investigation last year by Amnesty found similar human rights abuses. Nothing appears to have changed. Most of these child miners will never own a smartphone. They barely survive from day to day. And many other children like Dorsan will be back again tomorrow, digging out one of the most sought-after minerals of our time for a pittance.
Want to know the best part, though? Half of those, half, are sex slaves, James.
When I got married, I had just turned 13. We stood in my living room and in this ugly dress that my mother bought off the internet. And shortly after getting married, she encouraged us to start having kids. And that's why I had my first son when I was 15. It was a way for me to, I think, be dependent on her.
What? He's shouting.
No cheating? My ex, he was extremely abusive to me, and I was very confused because this is the only guy I had ever been with. So when he started, shoving me and all that stuff while I was pregnant, I thought, well, this is my life. How could this be? I felt like I was in slavery to it. I was a slave to my ex. I was a slave to this, idea that my mother wanted us to all be together and for me to have kids so young and to do all of that. I still have all of this emotional baggage of wanting to have done something with my life by now. It is really all the time that I think about what I could have done or could have been.
Well, we're here in Idaho talking about Angel's story because this state has one of the highest rates of child marriage anywhere in the country. Now, the rules are different for each state, but in 25 of them, there is no set minimum age below which a child can't get married. Even in all of the other states where there is a minimum age set, it can be as low as 13 or 14 years old. While the US is just waking up to this problem, here's a list of countries who, in the last 3 years, have completely banned child marriage.
So when we've set our foreign policy and when we're going around the world, what we're saying is marriage before 18 is a human rights abuse, forces girls into adulthood before they're ready, and we need to end it. But at home, in the United States, in year 2017, marriage before 18 is legal in all 50 states. Our clients, they come from every socioeconomic level. Really, the commonality that we see among our clients is that they're almost always girls and that the perpetrators are almost always their parents.
Fine, how are you?
Sherry Johnson is trying to convince politicians in her home state of Florida to change the laws that allowed her to be forced to marry at the age of just 11.
I got married to my rapist. The guy that raped me, actually my mother, saw fit for me to marry him to make the situation of me getting pregnant, I can say, to make it look better overall.
Okay, so we've got the marriage certificate here.
Yeah, marriage license, certified there. He was 20 and I was 11. 16, I had 6 children. What do I do? No finances. I have to depend on this man that I married. I smile from the outside, but the inside is crying. That actually was my life. So having children and trying to survive and live for them, it wasn't even about me anymore.
Both Angel and Sherry are still feeling the impact of having their own childhood stolen from them. But there is little to stop what happened to them happening to a child in much of America today.
As for hate speech, well, you want to hear some irony? We didn't even come up with that one. You did it all by yourself. Sometimes you amaze even us.
I fail to see the humor.
Bottom line is you're done. It's over, that's it. And we did it all right to your face, James. And now there's evil everywhere. And no one even cares.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Well, here they are, Marilyn Manson, Twiggy Ramirez, and Madonna Wayne Gacy. And you call yourselves, you're Marilyn Manson because?
Because that's my name.
Twiggy? And Madonna Wayne Gacy?
Yes.
You're not going to help us understand the...
Oh, you want to understand where the name came from? I've always watched talk shows. I haven't got to watch yours very often, though. I watch more of the trashier ones, but...
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our show. Without further ado, I would like you to meet some of the wildest, freakiest characters that you have ever laid your eyes on. Maestro, the music. Come on out, kids. Come on, here they come. Start the parade. These are the club kids. They live in a world of sexual disorientation, drug-induced states of euphoria, and glamour, a kind of glamour beyond belief. Now, usually they come out only at night when the rest of the world is fast asleep. Well, we woke them up to bring you the New York, hi honey, love your propellers. Very nice, very lovely. To bring him to your home. Hi honey, nice to see you. Very nice, very nice. Nice shoes. Very, you're tall, very tall. Hey, come on, grab a seat. Come on, you winged Valkyrie there. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, come on. Oh my God, what is the world coming to? All right, come on, here we come. Let's go. Yeah, find your seats, please. Here we go. Come on. Club kids, here we are. All right, as the friends and associates find their seats here in our studio at the Broadcast Center, let me introduce our panelists. I'll go from left to right. First, that's Richie Rich. He is an aspiring star in the club kid scene. As you can see, one of the most colorful personalities you are ever likely to meet. Nice tongue, Richie. Now, Richie, I'm told that you glow in the dark. Is that...
Baby, I glow in the dark, because I don't know. I don't need lights. I have my own fire.
He has his own fire, okay.
I'm like a big spotlight walking.
I found that Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, about 5 years ago when I thought of this, were the two most memorable people from the 60s. And I thought it was interesting that things like talk shows put them on the same kind of celebrity status. And I thought that dichotomy of positive and negative, putting those two names together, represented what I had to say and what I was about.
You wanted that?
First of all, I want to say how sorry I am for the parents.
Slowly, with your movies, your TV, and your media, we desensitized you, redirected your worldview to the point that you can't even recognize evil when it's right in front of your face. More to the point, James, you can't even feel it when you're doing it. And as for winners and losers, well, that gets decided at the time of death. The exact numbers are closely guarded secret, but there are more of you ending up in my master's house than with the enemy. A lot more, Jimmy.
I have to just observe, Mr. Mitchell, as you sit next to Marilyn Manson, nowhere is the generation gap more visible than it is right here. This is not to pass judgment in any way, but it is rather to say You know, our grandparents had Helen Kane, you know, oop, oopy doop, and everybody thought the world was going to hell because she was... Never has it been quite this pronounced. I mean, really, this is... Nor has a culture, especially a culture of young people, appeared to be so transfixed with death and darkness and evil. And do I speak the truth, Marilyn?
Everyone's so afraid of death, I think, that they want to get closer to it by fascinating over things like serial killers and horror movies and car crashes. And that fear of that danger at these concerts and these mosh pits, I think people get a sexual thrill from it. I think that excites people.
So there's erotica then is a part of moshing?
Well, maybe it's not erotic, but there's a term called eustress, and it's people's euphoric feeling over their stress. Yeah. I think people thrive off of that. It's like amusement park, right at your own risk. You know that the concerts, there's a hint of danger, and people like that hint of danger.
Living dangerously.
There's this book called the Necronomicon, which has incantations in it that if you read, you will bring about the apocalypse.
All right, let's go.
Of course, John made me go down there and said, you're going to go down there and you're going to read these incantations by Bic light. It was dark. I don't even think it was really a basement. I have no idea. It just wasn't a good idea. So I went down these really rotted stairs and, you know, there's dripping sounds. Handprints on the walls. I could hear whispering or talking. And at first I thought it was my friend talking to me. He was scared. I don't know if he was trying to work me up.
Read it, come on, man. Read it.
And I'm standing with the lighter, shaking, and it's of course burning my thumb. And I'm trying to read through the pages, and that just sounds like the worst thing you could possibly do at that point.
Read the book.
Fresh out of Christian school, I had read the Bible enough to know that this isn't good.
Bright light of nights, mistress of the gods.
This was the point where I was quite convinced that tonight, the end of my world was going to happen. I believe in the fact that there is energy, and if you mess with it, something can happen. We both got really scared because I could hear it talking.
It calls itself the darkness.
And it was very scary. It was people talking, whispering that I heard. It was something along the lines of, do you believe in Satan?
4-year-old Ella Bennett was fatally stabbed. Taken into custody was her 13-year-old brother.
Paris Bennett convinced his babysitter to go home early while their mom was gone. He stabbed Ella 17 times.
Paris Bennett is a diagnosed psychopath, and with an IQ of 141, he's considered a genius.
So you're going to be talking to Pierce Morgan, okay?
Okay. The prison regards him as so dangerous, they've insisted I interview him behind toughened glass.
Hello, everyone.
Paris.
How are you doing?
Good to see you. Thank you for agreeing to do this. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
To help us better understand Paris, I've called upon two of America's leading experts. Dr. Casey Jordan is a specialist in criminal behavior. Mark Sczhophrenic has over 20 years at the FBI, profiling violent criminals. The experts believe his mother Charity will be in danger. She's watching this interview to assess the risk. Her son was a juvenile when convicted, so he could be released in just 8 years.
I suppose my first question for you is, why are you doing this interview? What do you hope to get out of this?
I believe that the most important goal for me is to show people that I may be incarcerated, but that does not necessarily mean that I am a monster or a villain. That the mistake I made 12 years ago at the age of 13 is not something that defines my life.
I've seen video footage. I've seen still photographs of you together. You playing the role of perhaps protective older brother, her as the
the cheeky, mischievous younger sister. Can you rationalize or explain now how you came to do what you did to your sister?
I don't think I can easily explain everything, because if I could, we wouldn't be talking about it 12 years later. I think that's been one of the biggest challenges for other people through the years, because no one likes to be confused. No one likes to be bewildered. We like easy answers.
From what I've read, you were weighing up various options. One was to potentially kill the babysitter. One was to kill your mother, of whom you had lots of anger towards. And the other was to kill your sister. And in the end, you determined that if you killed your sister, but didn't kill your mother, that your mother would then live her life with the agony of losing her little girl, and that might be a bigger punishment than killing your mother. Is that a fair characterization of your thinking?
Yes, it is. For many, many years, there was just this hot, flaming ball of wrath in the pit of my stomach, and it was directed at my mother. And one of the reasons why I chose to kill my sister and not someone else is because I knew that by doing so, I could hurt my mother in the worst possible way. Because I had always known as a child that the most devastating thing to my mother would be the loss of one of her children. And I found a way to take away both her children in one fell swoop.
A person who has normal empathy, normal emotions, when they talk about their crime, you can see it. They have a tell. They tremble, they look down, their faces blanch, they get red, their voices begin to crack, because it is evoking genuine emotions and feelings from that memory. He has none of that.
His affect is very flat.
Yeah.
You can be talking about the murder, or you can be talking about the books he's reading.
Right.
But the affect is exactly the same all the way through.
You have a very good memory, I'm told, like really almost a photographic memory of stuff. Do you remember the day of the murder very acutely? Is it a very vivid memory?
I remember impressions more than I do vivid memory.
Once the babysitter had left, there was just you and Ella in the house, and she was asleep at that stage. Is that right? And you take a large knife and you go into her room and you stab her twice at the start of this process. When that happened, you could have saved her. You could have called the 911, the emergency services. That moment is very interesting to me about the calculation you made then to continue when you had hesitated and could have spared her.
I remember that. And I remember that it was like I was struggling with myself. And this isn't meant to suggest that I hear voices or that I'm crazy or anything, but it's almost like one part of me was the part of me that knew what I was doing was wrong. It was the part that loved my sister and would have turned the world upside down for her. And the other part was the wounded, twisted, dark part, the part that had been in pain for so long and wanted misery loves company. It was the part of me that wanted to cause pain, to take the pain I had been feeling and give it to someone else.
But you had done this specifically in the end.
Yes.
To cause your mother maximum pain. This has achieved your goal, which was to effectively mean your mother lost both her children at once. One to death, one to incarceration. When you saw her completely grief-stricken and in utter torment, that is what you were hoping to achieve by your actions. So I'm just curious whether the reality of what you hope to achieve lived up to your expectation or hope.
No. At no point Did I ever feel like I had accomplished something or that I had achieved a goal? And one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to talk about how I felt at that time is because I'm completely estranged from who I was then. And now I can't comprehend how I could ever have thought that killing my sister would solve my problems. It's like we're here talking about a completely different person. It's like you're asking me to try to climb inside someone else's head and peer through his eyes and catalog his thoughts. And I realize we're talking about myself, but it doesn't feel like we are. I remember that even during the time that I was stabbing her, I was struggling with myself to stop. But I just didn't struggle hard enough. I didn't put up a good enough fight against myself. And I remember thinking once I had started that it was too late. I couldn't stop. I remember thinking that I have to see it through to the end.
First time you kill a man, you come to a crossroads. You learn something about yourself. You don't learn what you're capable of or how bad a person you are or any of that bullshit. You learn you can sleep at night after, or you learn you can't. You're either haunted or you're not. I was 16 years old the first time I killed a man. And I slept like a baby every night since.
Psychopaths, unlike the rest of us, don't show emotion when confronted by situations that we would find distressing. I wonder how Paris will handle this.
You call 911. Have you heard back the tape of that call yourself?
No, but I've been told about it many, many times.
We have a copy. I was going to play it to you just to get your reaction to it, if that's all right with you.
I really don't want to hear that tape.
You don't want to hear it?
I don't want to hear that tape.
Why do you fear hearing it?
I don't fear hearing it. I know that hearing that tape is going to cause me to break down. And when I leave this interview room, I have to go back out into a public environment where any sign of distress or emotional weakness is bait to predators.
He doesn't want to hear it because he thinks it's going to upset him, but we haven't seen an emotion on his face yet. No. He doesn't want us to play it because then we will continue to see his flat affect, his complete lack of emotion, lack of empathy, lack of feeling.
Well, and he might have to actually try to fake some tears.
We're about to play you that 911 call. Paris sounds convincing. The forensic evidence has proved that he is lying.
Alig 911.
I accidentally killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
My sister, I stabbed her.
Okay, where'd you stab her?
Lots of places. I didn't mean to.
I know. Let's go ahead and try CPR, okay? I want you to put your hands on her chest, but I want you to push 30 times.
All right.
Go ahead, count.
He counts along with the 911 operator. 1, 2, 3. When in fact he was just walking around with the phone.
He wasn't even in the bedroom.
He fakes that he's doing it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Do you remember what happened after the emergency services turned up at the house?
I remember that a male officer walking past me and into the bedroom, and I remember hearing him mutter, "Oh my God," when he saw what I had done. And I remember, I just felt like I was drowning in shame, knowing that they saw what I had done and knew that I had done it. That's really all I can say about it. There are parts that are very, very clear, and there are parts that are hard to remember.
He has an amazing memory when it comes to a lot of other things. But when you start to ask, because I've asked, like, where did all this start? That's when he starts getting vague.
Ted, how did it happen? Take me back. What are the antecedents of the behavior that we've seen? So much grief, so much sorrow, so much pain for so many people. Where did it start? How did this moment come about?
I grew up in a wonderful home with two dedicated and loving parents, one of 5 brothers and sisters. But as a young boy, and I mean a boy of 12 or 13, certainly, that I encountered outside the home again, in the local grocery store, the local drugstore, the softcore pornography, what people call softcore. But as I think I explained to you last night, Dr. Dobson, in an anecdote, that as young boys do, we explored the back roads and sideways and byways of our neighborhood, and oftentimes people would dump the garbage and whatever they were cleaning out of their house, and from time to time we'd come across pornographic books of a harder nature than more graphic, you might say, more explicit nature than we would encounter, let's say, in your local grocery store. My experience with, I'd say, pornography generally, but with pornography that deals on a violent level with sexuality, is that once you become addicted to it, and I look at this as a kind of addiction, like other kinds of addiction, I would keep looking for more potent, more explicit, more graphic kinds of material. Like an addiction, you keep craving something which is harder, something which gives you a greater sense of excitement.
When did you possess Edward? Doesn't work that way. Can't just possess someone. We need a series of yeses.
So you're saying it's a process?
Of course it's a process.
How does it work?
It's complicated.
Try me.
Okay, James. We offer up a series of temptations, gradually increasing in terms of duration and intensity, degree of moral inequity. Absence of baptism in this case allowed us to begin work long before the age of reason. At 3, age of 5, maybe a theft of a toy car can do a great deal. Then we move on to bigger and better things. At 8, grandmother's gift of a Ouija board gave us immediate access to his decision-making, so we began steering them without him ever calling into question exactly who was doing the steering. Enough yeses and few enough nos gave us increasing rights over the victim's physical and mental processes.
Until you reach the point where the pornography only goes so far.
Did that track, James?
It seems random, almost, unfocused.
Well, that's what we want you to think. We have a level of focus beyond your comprehension. As a matter of fact, everybody around him, friends, family, they didn't even notice the changes. It happened so incrementally. They just thought it was Eddie being Eddie. We knew exactly what we were doing, when, where, and how he was giving consent, and the exact moment that we achieved each new degree of control.
Degree?
Control host body comes in degrees. They're stages, each with its own name and characteristics.
And those are?
From top to bottom, extreme temptation, obsession, infestation, finally possession, subjugation.
And Edward Wayne Brady
fully subjugated. That's why we're having this conversation. Yes, we own him.
We?
All those who dwell below. My master's very generous with the toys he gives his children to play with. Subjugation with an S.
You reach that jumping off point where you begin to wonder if maybe actually doing it will give you that which is beyond just reading about it or looking at it.
Embrace the darkness or die. Never again, you son of a bitch. I am your salvation.
Ted, after you committed your first murder, what was the emotional effect on you? What happened in the days after that?
It was like coming out of some kind of horrible trance or dream.
Once the darkness gets a hold of you, you start to lose control. You start to wonder what the fuck you're doing. Time slips away from you. And then, all of a sudden, it's like you're sitting in a theater, watching a movie of your own life. And you're up there on the big screen, big as life. You're a fucking movie star, and you're killing all the bad guys, tearing them limb from limb. And you feel good, you look good. Fuck, you are good. And then you realize something. Everyone else in the theater, they're screaming. Because they're watching a horror movie. And you're not the hero. You're the monster.
I can only liken it to after, I don't want to over-dramatize it, but to have been possessed by something so awful and so alien, and then the next morning wake up from it, remember what happened and realize that basically, in the eyes of the law, certainly in the eyes of God, you're responsible to wake up in the morning and realize what I had done, and with a clear mind and all my essential moral and ethical feelings intact at that moment.
How terrible is wisdom when it brings no profit to the wise, Johnny.
Louis Cypher. Lucifer. Even your name is a dime store joke.
Mephistopheles is such a mouthful in Manhattan, Johnny.
You think posing as the devil just because it scared some superstitious old guitar player and that witch and that nutty old man? Do you think it's gonna scare me? It ain't. Because I know who I am. And you killed them. And you're trying to pin it on me. And I know who I am.
If I had cloven hooves and a pointed tail, would you be more convinced?
You're crazy. I know who I am. You're trying to frame me. You're trying to frame me. Cypher, I know who I am. You murdered them people. I never killed nobody. I didn't kill Fowler. And I didn't kill Toots. And I didn't kill Margaret. And I didn't kill Cruzmark. I didn't kill no one.
I'm afraid you did, Johnny.
My name's not Johnny.
All killed by your own hand. Guided by me, naturally. Frankly, you were doomed from the moment you slit that young boy in half, Johnny. For 12 years, you've been living on borrowed time and another man's memories.
Hey, I'm gonna tell Winesap because he knows.
Winesap? Well, he's dead. Nasty accident. Don't worry, no one will mourn one less lawyer in the world. There's death everywhere these days, Johnny. But what gives human life its worth? Anyway, because someone loves it, hates it. The flesh is weak, Johnny. Only the soul is immortal. And yours belongs to me.
Absolutely horrified that I was capable of doing something like that.
You really hadn't known that before?
Basically, I was a normal person.
Matter of fact, everybody around him, friends, family, they didn't even notice the changes. It happened so incrementally. They just thought it was Eddie being Eddie.
I wasn't some guy hanging out at bars or a bum, or I wasn't a pervert in the sense that, people look at somebody and say, I know there's something wrong with him, and just tell. I mean, I was essentially a normal person. I had good friends. I led a normal life, except for this one small but very potent and very destructive segment of it that I kept very secret, very close to myself, and didn't let anybody know about it. And part of the shock and horror from my dear friends and family years ago when I was first arrested was that there was no clue. They looked at me and they looked at the all-American boy, and I wasn't perfect, but I want to be quite candid with you. I was okay. Okay, I was. The basic humanity and basic spirit that God gave me was intact, but unfortunately became overwhelmed at times. And I think people need to recognize that it's not some kind of those of us who have been so much influenced by violence in the media, in particular pornographic violence, are not some kinds of inherent monsters. We are your sons and we are your husbands. And we grew up in regular families. And pornography can reach out and snatch a kid out of any house today. He snatched me out of my home. It snatched me out of my home 20, 30 years ago. And as diligent as my parents were, and they were diligent in protecting their children, and as good a Christian home as we had, and we had a wonderful Christian home, there is no protection against the kinds of influences that are loose in a society that tolerates.
You feel this really deeply, don't you? Ted, outside these walls right now, there are several hundred reporters that wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
And you asked me to come here from California because you had something you wanted to say. This hour that we have together is not just an interview with a man who's scheduled to die tomorrow morning. I'm here and you're here because of this message that you're talking about right here. You really feel that hardcore pornography and the doorway to it, softcore pornography, is doing untold damage to other people and causing other women to be abused and killed the way you did hers.
Listen, I'm no social scientist, and I haven't done a survey. I mean, I don't pretend that I know what John Q. Citizen thinks about this. But I've lived in prison for a long time now. And I've met a lot of men who were motivated to commit violence just like me. And without exception, every one of them was deeply involved in pornography, without question, without exception, deeply influenced and consumed by an addiction to pornography.
Gave us immediate access to his decision-making, so we began steering them without him ever calling into question exactly who was doing the steering. Enough yeses and few enough nos gave us increasing rights over the victims' physical and mental processes. Did that track, James?
There's no question about it. The FBI's own study on serial homicide shows that the most common interest among serial killers is pornography.
That's true.
And it's real. It's true.
Ted, what would your life have been like without that influence? You can only speculate.
Yeah. Well, I know it would have been far better, not just for me, and it's, excuse me for being so self-centered here. It would have been a lot better for me and lots of other people. I know that. Lots of other innocent people, victims and families. It would have been a lot better. There's no question, but it would have been a fuller life. Certainly a life that would not have involved, I'm absolutely certain, would not have involved this kind of violence that I have committed.
I'm sure, Ted, if I were able to ask you the questions that are being asked out there, one of the most important as you come down to perhaps your final hours, are you thinking about all those victims out there and their families who are so wounded, years later, their lives have not returned to normal. They will never return to normal.
Absolutely.
Are you carrying that load, that weight? Is the remorse there?
Yes, absolutely. In the past few days, myself and a number of investigators have been talking about unsolved cases, murders that I was involved in. And it's hard to talk about all these years later because it revives in me all those terrible feelings and those thoughts that I have steadfastly and diligently dealt with, I think successfully, with the love of God. And yet it's reopened that, and I felt the pain and I felt the horror again of all that. And I can only hope that those who I have harmed, those who I've caused so much grief, even if they don't believe my expression of sorrow and remorse, will believe what I'm saying now, that there is loose in their towns and their communities people like me today whose dangerous impulses are being fueled day in and day out by violence in the media in its various forms, particularly sexualized violence. And what scares me, and let's come into the present now, because what I'm talking about happened 20, 30 years ago. That is, in my formative stages. And what scares and appalls me, Dr. Dobson, is when I see what's on cable TV.
Rebel, rebel, bitch, bitch, rebel, rebel, body, body, sex, 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 violence.
Some of the movies, some of the violence in the movies that come into homes today with stuff that they wouldn't show in X-rated adult theaters 30 years ago.
In every house, it's hard to be this one in the most. The harm of fever, the harm of fever. Some in atomic size adjusting, but the mentalism has been this way. Oh, fascism, take it away! Hey, you, what do you say? Something beautiful, something free. Hey, you, I try to be me. You live with the spread, it's on the return. The beautiful ego, the beautiful ego.
This stuff,
the slasher movies that you're talking about,
that stuff is, I'm telling you from personal experience, the most that is graphic violence on screen, particularly as it gets into the home to children who may be unattended or unaware that they may be a Ted Bundy who has that vulnerability to that predisposition to be influenced by that kind of behavior, by that kind of movie, that kind of violence. There are kids sitting out there switching the TV dial around and come upon these movies late at night, or I don't know when they're on, but they're on and any kid can watch them. It's scary when I think what would have happened to me if I had seen. I mean, scary enough. I mean, that I just ran into stuff outside the home, but to know that children are watching that kind of thing today, or can pick up their phone and dial away for it or send away for it. But I'll tell you, there are lots of other kids playing in streets around this country today who are going to be dead tomorrow and the next day and the next day and next month because other young people are reading the kinds of things and seeing the kinds of things that are available in the media today.
It seems today that all we see is violence in movies and sex on TV. But those good old-fashioned values of yesteryear that some long for would land the king of rock and roll in hot water. Today, I want to tell you a story of censorship, one that seems quite strange by the standards we hold these days, and it'll take us back to the 1950s. But to really understand how Elvis would catch this type of controversy, we need to go over how he broke onto the scene. More controversial than his music was Elvis's habit of gyrating on stage. Acts like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Buddy Holly would all have a very stand-up show. Not motionless, but the performance was more about the music than the things that they were doing on stage. This was something Elvis couldn't do in his younger years, and his hips would sell records, but they would also lead to his most significant backlash up to this point. So the year is 1956, and the Ed Sullivan Show is the biggest in town. The problem for Elvis? Sullivan wanted nothing to do with him, going as far as to state that he would never have Elvis Presley on his show because of how obscene his stage performance was.
And all the children sing, we hate love, we love hate, we hate love.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
class. Well, that was just a line. Yeah, they said you were high class. Well, that was just a line. Yeah, you ain't never gonna ever and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, barking all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, barking all the time. Yeah, you ain't never gonna ever, you ain't no friend of mine.
One of the things most people say when they serve a lot of time is just how boring and repetitive, mundane the life is. How do you deal with that?
Books. I am a voracious reader. I'm always reading. And
what are you reading at the moment?
Well, I'm reading several things at the moment right now. I am reading a collection of horror stories edited by Mark Morris, and I am reading the newest issue of Black Static, a zine published in the UK.
People might be surprised that you read horror stories, given you lived through a horror story.
I enjoy reading horror and dark fiction because it can be hard for me to read novels about mundane life and mundane concerns.
He's not going to the fact that he's been in prison since he was 13, so he is completely isolated from an outside world that he would have no idea of how to control himself in.
When I read a horror story, it's almost soothing in a way because I find myself, it's almost like I'm touching the mind of the writer, someone who understands, who has either been in a dark place, him or herself, or has seen that place and is able to express it or articulate it in a way that I feel I can't.
For him, as a psychopath, he needs that thrill. He needs the excitement, and he's not getting it here.
Right.
And that's my concern is when he gets out, that it will no longer be mundane. He'll be able to exercise the things that excite him.
Right, and the only thing that he finds, his word, soothing, is horror.
Yeah.
Soothing, because it is reassuring to him that somebody else has a dark mind like his that can write about horrible stuff like he's done. He doesn't feel so alone or aberrant in this world.
Absolutely.
Because if somebody else can think it and write it into a novel, then he's not weird. He's fine.
He found a nest of black widows living inside a vent. Most people fear spiders. They detest them. And yet, I found them endlessly fascinating. More than that, found a great comfort in them. The kinship. Like me, they are solitary creatures and deeply misunderstood. They are gods of our world, the most important of all predators. They immobilize and feed on the weak, bringing balance and order to an unstable ecosystem. But the human world was disrupting this harmony. You see, humans are a unique type of pest, multiplying and poisoning our world, all while enforcing a structure of their own, a deeply unnatural structure. Where others saw order, I saw a straitjacket. Cruel, oppressive world dictated by made-up rules. Seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, each life, a faded, lesser copy of the one before. Wake up, eat, work, sleep, reproduce, and die. Everyone is just waiting for it all to be over, all while performing in a silly, terrible play day after day. I could not do that. I could not close off my mind and join in the madness. I could not pretend. And I realized I didn't have to.
The question for me, Paris, is this: you're obviously very intelligent, very articulate. You pause before almost every answer you give me for thought. Your demeanor, the way you're sitting, is very measured. It's very, like, regulated, I guess. For all the charm that you obviously can turn on, that actually lurking inside you is a very dark side.
See, there was something inside me. Something terrible. Waiting to get out. The kind of stuff you only see in your worst nightmares. The killing only made it stronger. Harder to control. Eventually, I found a way to bury it.
Which makes you exceptionally dangerous. And that the only reason you're in such apparent control is because you don't want to do anything that might stop you getting out of here. What do you say to people that believe that about you?
I say to the people who believe I'm just biding my time until I get out that they are fools. And I have nothing but scorn for them. And I realize that, as you say, my demeanor, I understand the way I present myself is disturbing to some people. I understand that I paint myself in dark hues. And I really don't care because I'm being honest. This is who I am. And I've reached a point in my life where I really don't care about what people think about me. That's one of the reasons why I agreed to the interview. But I know myself. I have to...
Do you care what I think about you?
I would like you to appreciate the fact that I'm willing to be honest with you.
This is affect changing. He's getting
It's a one flash of anger we've seen.
Yeah, he's getting angry.
I would like you to
How do I know you're being honest?
Because I've basically just sat here and told you that if there's a spectrum of aberrancy, that I'm far from normal. I've agreed with you when you've described my actions as heinous and monstrous. I'm not protesting my innocence. I'm not downplaying the severity of what I've done.
He does not like being confronted
No.
on the reality.
This is his narcissistic aspect of him. Like, people are stupid, and I scorn them, and I know how to control myself, and these people, they don't understand.
Paris describes what's inside him as his wolf. When he was younger, he called them his tentacles, that they would come up, out of the darkness and pull his mind to these dark places. And now he calls it his wolf. And he tells me that he's figured out a way to keep that wolf on a chain, buried in his mind somewhere, and like this huge vault with all these locks on it. And, but my response to him is always, but the wolf is still there.
As for the darkness, Jackie's kept it locked away for years, but it doesn't matter how hard he tries. No one can hold back the night. If he can't control this thing inside him, pretty soon there won't be anything left. Jackie will be nothing but an empty shell. And that's just how the darkness likes it.
Do you think you understand what love is? I mean, are you capable?
I don't really know how to answer that question. And I'm not saying that to be difficult or stubborn, but it is not simple. So I can't just point at something and say, okay, that's love. I recognize it easily, and I feel that.
To me, this question is a no-brainer. This hurts. That there is at least one thing he should be able to point at and say, that's love. And that's the fact that I'm still here and have supported him throughout this process. Because my feelings for him are very complex, but I can very easily say that's love.
As they say, it's like asking a colorblind person to describe the color red. They can't do it. He can't describe love because he can't feel it.
He doesn't feel anything.
Lack of empathy for their victims is a classic psychopathic trait.
From Seconds magazine, you're quoted as saying, you have to take responsibility. You reap what you sow, and you have to clean up after yourself. I'm sick of people always trying to blame movies, bands, songs or talk shows for whatever. Teen suicides, drug overdoses, everything else. If someone's stupid enough to kill themselves because of a song, then that's exactly what they deserve. They weren't contributing anything to society. It's one less effing idiot in the world. There's too many people. If more people killed themselves over music, it wouldn't disappoint me. It would disappoint me in that it's sad that people are that stupid.
Exactly.
I want to know why it is that all of you seem to have satanic signs all over you, and what is it that does this music cause you to do what you do?
Is that directed at us or the parents?
That's funny. Twiggy. That's your little
the
tape
music
recorder?
caused us to do what we do. We cause the music to do what it does, I think.
Yeah.
I think that moshing is a sign of what Christians would call the apocalypse.
Great gnashing of teeth.
It's, the culture is just getting more and more destructive, and I think this is a sign of the times.
Paris was able to coldly murder his sister just to punish his mother.
Why did you have such anger towards your mother?
I spent a lot of time feeling alone as a child. A lot of time feeling left out, not only by my peers, but also by my own family.
And that's just how the darkness likes it.
See, every time he says, because I've heard him say that before, that he felt alone or left out, I'm always amazed. Like, where did that feeling come from? Because for the longest time, he was my only child. Life revolved around Paris. He was very loved by everybody. I was very present as a mother. How could he have felt that way? Because I remember his childhood completely different.
You're in here for a monstrous crime. That, I presume you would agree, it was a monstrous crime. You've always challenged the notion that you yourself are a monster. Professionals have said you're a psychopath. How do you categorize yourself?
To respond to the question about whether or not I may be a psychopath or a sociopath or whichever phrase you want to use, I want to point out in the most recent edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, psychiatrists and psychologists and other mental health professionals now favor the idea of spectrum. And I'll be the first to agree with you. And yes, I did commit a monstrous crime, but does one mistake define my entire life? And does that one mistake mean that I'm at the extreme end of the spectrum? I don't think it does.
He's done his research and he's expecting the question and he has a completely rehearsed answer. The subtext of everything he wants to say is designed for his future parole hearing.
Exactly.
Hey, Paris, what is your problem?
I'm the ghost of Paris. You will suffer. I will kill you.
He's frightening. The calculation that he took at 13 to commit this is horrifying in that at 13 he was able to manipulate a situation in order to do something so heinous most people wouldn't even think about it, yet he manipulated a situation in order to carry it out. What is he now? He's older. His intelligence hasn't diminished. He will walk on the streets. He will be somebody's neighbor. He'll be out walking amongst everyone, and that's terrifying.
I think viewers at the end of this are going to be absolutely stunned that somebody like this could potentially be back on the streets in a few years' time.
I mean, one thing we know, that if this had happened 5 years later, he would never be getting out.
Yeah.
He's only going to get out because he was a juvenile.
But at 13, you know what happens if you kill someone. And I often wonder, did he choose to start acting on his murderous fantasies early, at 13, knowing that he would have a chance of getting out in his mid-30s.
Mom, what's your least favorite word?
My what?
Your least favorite word? Or sentence?
I don't know.
Peanuts, cherries, children?
Yes.
This is the former Episcopal Church of the Holy Communion, built in 1844, but by the end of the 1990s, it was anything but holy. Between the late 1980s and the turn of the century, the Limelight was one of New York City's most infamous clubs and attracted all sorts of people from all around the world. Artists like Grace Jones, Marilyn Manson, Chuck Berry, Cyndi Lauper would all perform here. Limelight was also home to the Club Kids. These were an influential group of people that dressed up in elaborate costumes and partied the night away.
We make our own rules in the clubs. Nobody is there to say, you can't dress like that, you can't behave like that, you shouldn't be doing that. We can do whatever we want.
A lot of LGBT kids found a home here. They could work within the scene, they could enjoy themselves, bond. Some of them had been thrown out by parents or weren't accepted by their parents, and here they were accepted.
By 1996, Limelight's appeal began to crumble when club kid Angel Melendez was killed by the ringleader of the group, party promoter Michael Alig, and his roommate Robert Riggs, also known as Freeze.
Michael Alig was a kid who came from the Midwest and exploded on the scene of nightlife. He worked his way up to become the leader of the Club Kids.
Love your haircut. I mean, it's just sensational. Well, low maintenance. I see that. It's great.
I don't know. I guess they're jealous because I'm having a lot of fun and they're not.
When Michael started, he was reckless and bratty and fun, and I liked his charisma. I liked his ideas for club parties, and I liked the way he wanted to shake up the bourgeoisie and the banality and get attention for himself, though that gradually led to a spiraling. And there was a dark side from the beginning, but at first we were kind of captivated by the dark side. Oh, he has nerve. He really can shake things up. He's got, the cojones to go there. But eventually it became more out of control and less cute. Before I knew it, he was throwing big parties. Everyone was following him. A whole legion of club kids was saying, Michael, Michael, and I would turn around and it's like, no, Michael Alig, not you. The club kept hiring him. I kept going to his parties. We all sort of enabled it in some way, but also I was there not just to celebrate him, which I did on talk shows when I said nightlife is a wonderful place for many LGBT youth, but I also was there to chastise and say when he went overboard, which was often. And Michael even had a party here at Limelight that was like a blood feast thing with, dismembered limbs and imagery like that, which made you wonder what he was thinking about.
In March 1996, Angel Melendez went missing.
He was a copycat. He was one of those copycats that we hate, and so we killed him. I killed Angel, and that's the kind of thing that gets me in trouble.
You never was sure from his tone, but he wanted the word out there. He almost was wearing it as a badge of honor.
He went from an Indiana kid to the king of the Manhattan club scene to being convicted of manslaughter and is now a rehabilitated citizen. In the late 80s, Michael Alig founded the Club Kids, a group of eccentric and idolized personalities known for wild parties, outrageous attire, and excessive drug use. But in 1996, he confessed to the brutal murder of his roommate and drug dealer, Angel Melendez. In a drug-induced haze, he and friend Robert Freeze Riggs beat Melendez with a hammer, stowed him in their bathtub, and a week later threw his dismembered body into the Hudson.
Alig served 17 years in prison. He was released in 2014.
We were hoping that we would go to bed and wake up the next day and that it had been a dream. I mean, we were that scared, and it's hard to put yourself in this situation where you've done something like this that's so horrific that really the whole universe has changed. And like that. I don't know of any other story in modern day that has so many drama queens and so many attention whores. And so I can imagine that when the DA went around asking people, questions, there were people that just made up answers because they wanted to be involved in some way. They're probably not used to so many people that want to be involved in something scandalous like this because most people want to shy away from that kind of thing. But the kinds of people that are associated with this scene, they want to be in the paper and they want to be we wanted to be. You know, we wanted to get attention, and it kind of didn't matter if it was negative or positive attention, just getting the attention. And then, of course, when you make a Hollywood movie of it, so now you have a Hollywood version of an already hyped up version, and somewhere it turns into something completely else. There are a lot of people who just they see something on film, and because it's in a movie or documentary, they think it's gotta be true.
There's a story that came out that said you injected his body with Drano. Is that true or false?
That one is false.
There's also rumors that Drano was dumped on his body. So.
That was true, among other things. You know, just whatever our drug-addled minds thought would cover up any scent, or we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we were just kind of on autopilot and just making snap decisions, and none of them good, none of them right. But that's what happens when you're on drugs. You don't even realize that you're not making right, because you're on drugs. So, I'm not using drugs as an excuse or anything, because I was sober when I decided to take drugs. So, I have to take responsibility for everything that happens while I'm on them. On the other hand, we weren't on our right minds, obviously. We were just making bad choice after bad choice after bad choice, and making the problem worse when we thought we were trying to make it better,
Did you have a party in the apartment while Freeze was in?
No, we did not. Things like that upset me because they add an air of sinisterness and darkness to it's already a terrible situation, already a dark situation, but that specific thing changes the story from something that possibly could be forgivable in a certain, by certain people in a certain, to something that maybe isn't so forgivable, because it's now there's premeditation and there's malice.
Come on out, you winged Valkyrie there. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, come on. The ringleader, I guess you call him the ringleader of the Club Kids, Michael Alig, has been on and in the scene for over 10 years. He's the only Club Kid veteran from our previous reports on this topic. Now, Michael Alig's style has changed every time he's been here. His current look, if you look closely, it's sort of, what do you call that, accident victim drug addict. He proudly wears at other times phony neck braces, fake black eyes, made up open sores, and hypodermic marks on his arm. Now, why, Michael? What's this new look all about? I guess I'm bored. I don't know.
In 1996, he confessed to the brutal murder of his roommate and drug dealer, Angel Melendez. In a drug-induced haze, he and friend Robert Freeze Riggs beat Melendez with a hammer, stowed him in their bathtub, and a week later threw his dismembered body into the Hudson.
I love the bruises. The bruises have a nice touch. They look real? Yes, they do. All right. No, I actually know Michael's mother. Well, I wish you all good luck, long life, and success in your various endeavors. Thank you for coming, Rachel. I don't know if you'll ever win this one. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Now there's premeditation and there's malice and kind of, and so that bothers me. It insinuates an air of, just callousness, and we don't care, we were so racked with guilt and just pain and misery, and there was no way. I wasn't even throwing parties at the clubs. I mean, the clubs were kind of just running. I couldn't put together a party at the club, let alone my house.
Michael once came up to me on the street before his conviction and was promoting some party, and I was like, ew. And he's like, you don't think I killed Angel, do you? And it was said in a very eerie, taunting way. And I thought, yeah, I do think you did. He had obviously told so many people that he did it that part of him wanted to be caught. He was screaming to get caught. Everybody was buzzing. He told a lot of people. Some people thought he was joking. Some people thought it was a stunt.
I killed Angel, and that's the kind of thing that gets me in trouble.
So is this just another case of a psychopathic killer
who wants credit for his gruesome act? Or might there also be an element of something that's possessing him to say this? Something that wants him to pour gasoline onto his own life and set it ablaze?
You think I don't know the darkness is changing you, manipulating everything you do? It's going to control you, just like it always does with the weak ones. Makes you see things, doesn't it?
You can make this hard or easy, pal. Just give me the siphon.
Jackie, you really are delusional, aren't you?
We were doing anything, every, defense mechanism and every possible escape and runaway that we could think of to either make, maybe it didn't happen or, fix it in some way.
I've been up for days and I did 3 lines of heroin and all I remember is telling everybody in the room how good I felt, that I've never felt, that I finally reached that point that you're always trying to get at. That high that you're always perfect, how you're not too down, you're not too up, you're just perfect. And I told everybody, I wish everybody felt the way I did right then, and then I fell down. Into my plate of food.
So that's him reflecting on his 3rd drug overdose. And he says that this essentially lethal level of intoxication was that perfect high he'd always been looking for. That was the last thing he remembers saying before he lost consciousness and had to be resuscitated. He was saying, I've finally gotten it. This is perfect. This is what I wanted. So one way to interpret this would be to personify the drugs and say, the drugs wanted to kill him. They were not going to be happy until he reached oblivion, right? They were demanding that he take more and more until he died. And so it's like there's this malignant circuit of this, demon drug addiction that's telling him, this is what you want. This lethal level, this is what you want.
Embrace the darkness, Jackie. You need me. Embrace the darkness.
And that's not too far off from what we know about the realities of addiction, that these powerful narcotics at a certain stage make the user believe that they are necessary for survival, but in fact they're driving the user towards the exact opposite.
After they returned to the apartment, Alig took heroin and then cut up his victim's body.
We just went right to the drug dealer and bought as much heroin as we could buy because I think we wanted to kill ourselves. Heroin gives you kind of a feeling of that everything is okay, kind of like Xanax, but it takes away all of your worries and concerns, and you could maybe do something that wouldn't seem conceivable if you're sober. So I said, I'm just going to do more and more heroin until I get to a point where I either can do, can take care of this, or I die, and then you'll have two bodies to get rid of, and then I won't have the responsibility.
The rumor is that after Angel had passed away, you had gone around telling people.
We did tell people, and it was a combination of things. It's a very complex thing that when you do something so so horrific and monumental in a horrific way, and unfathomable, and just overwhelming. I told people, because in a way I felt, and this is really selfish, but drug addicts are selfish people. I told my friends in an awful way because I felt like I was sharing the burden of responsibility now. Like it wasn't just me that had this awful secret, now my friends did too, and it was like a little bit of a weight off my shoulders. And then it turned into, when a lot of people knew about it, then it turned into something more like, well, let's tell everybody we did, because then people started questioning, did you do it? So then it was more like, well, let's say that we did it, so they think we didn't do it, So it was a little bit of everything, but one thing it wasn't was, we killed somebody and now you can't do anything about it. It wasn't that. And I think maybe some people think that it was. Nobody that knows us thinks that, but I think maybe people who don't know us might think that, and if they do, that's not true.
He was a copycat. He was one of those copycats that we hate, and so we killed him. I killed Angel, and that's the kind of thing that gets me in trouble.
Gary Glitter can be the most eccentric person in the world. Paul Gadd can't be, he's just like everybody else. But Gary Glitter he can fly, he can, he's much larger than life.
So they are two different people?
Oh, sure, he's a bit of a monster between you and I, and he's getting bigger all the time, of course.
Kids did love him. He was a larger-than-life character on screen and on the stage.
They thought they knew him because of what they saw on television. But of course they didn't. It was an illusion.
Have you heard about my reputation?
No? Totally. We want to hear about your reputation. There's the microphone down there.
Here's somebody to help her who also has a problem with being shy. Gary Glitter.
It's almost as if they're having a little private joke about what each of them is up to.
It was a tidal wave, really. I was on a roller coaster. I mean, in some ways it was wonderful. It also has this very dark side.
My client was 12 years old at the time. She was repeatedly raped by him, and the manner in which he did all of that was particularly depraved and revolting.
I think there was real shock in the courtroom that the youngest victim was 8 years old. For any young person meeting their hero or meeting someone famous, it should be a moment of joy. In the case of Gadd, these young girls met an absolute monster.
Drama inside Court 1 in the past few moments. The jury have now come back in with verdicts on all of those charges.
There was no emotion. He stared at the floor. It was one word that kept coming back.
Guilty of the attempted rape of a child under the age of 10. Guilty of 5 indecent assaults. Guilty of sex with a child under the age of 13. That one charge alone potentially carries a sentence of life in prison.
Well, I'd be lying if I said to you it was anything other than immensely satisfying, particularly because of the history, particularly, I'll call her Woman A, that there was a huge amount invested in this outcome for her.
And one of the memories I have of the case is the profound sense of vindication that she felt after all these years when they convicted him of attempting to rape her, because she'd been believed.
There was little reaction or emotion from the former glam rock star as he was sentenced. Some of his fans who were in the public gallery waved at him as he was led away from the dock to begin his 16 years in prison.
I feel very sad that these poor women had to wait 40 years for justice. I feel very sad that they felt that they could not report what had happened to them to the police for all those years. And I feel sorry that they had to suffer in silence. My client was one of the victims in the criminal trial in 2015. I think fundamentally that the justice that she wants is the justice that frustratingly is not really available through the system because of when this happened, which is a life sentence for Gad. He gets to come out of prison. Her suffering is lifelong.
My immediate question is, what about all the other victims in that period? Because he will never have stopped abusing children. That will never have gone away.
When you grow up, will you run away with me? Or when I grow up, will I run away with you?
I don't believe for one moment that some of the people that surrounded Gary Glitter didn't know what he was doing. And my question to them would be, why did you not do something sooner?
I don't think it's possible to know if anybody knew, because if anybody did know, they did nothing about it.
He hid behind Gary Glitter. He's like an actor hiding behind a part. It was a mask to throw you off the scent.
But there were clues. What your mama don't see, your mama don't know.
I think without the News of the World's involvement in this case, Glitter would have been convicted. I have no doubt at all about that, and that he would have been locked up then instead of being convicted of these terrible crimes that she says he committed. He was cleared.
As one of the richest countries in the world, it always struck me as a bit of a scandal that we were complicit in a way. We should not be letting our citizens travel around the world abusing children in poorer countries.
When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel.
We have some breaking news coming to you now here at the BBC, and it is that the disgraced pop star Gary Glitter has been freed from jail after serving half of his 16-year sentence.
He'll never change. This is his life. This is all he's done. Paul Francis Gad lived as a paedophile, and he will die as a paedophile.
Jimmy Savile received the OBE. Jimmy, of course, is the well-known disc jockey. What's not generally known is he does a very considerable amount of work to help hospitals and charities. But then, that's his serious side.
Savile's OBE proved he'd been right, enhancing his status as a TV personality and giving his questionable on-screen behaviour respectability.
So, the BBC decided, why not put it all on film? Would you believe we got it all in? Just watch the super film.
He was one of television's biggest stars, watched by 20 million viewers a week. But hidden from sight, Savile was out of control, committing at least 19 rapes and assaults at Top of the Pops.
My name's Nicola, and I worked at the BBC from the age of 17. I joined the costume department, so I would work on Top of the Pops. Jimmy Savile was about the biggest celebrity that there was there at the time. You realise what a powerful figure he was, really, for a DJ, for just an ordinary DJ at the BBC. They would treat him like he was royalty. You would see him come into the main reception at the television centre. He literally had an entourage with him, and the producer and the other people, they were in deference to him. He was in control. If he needed a jacket or some costume thing for Top of the Pops, he would always have a particular group of dressers that would work with him. The young women never went near him. We were told not to, and we didn't, and we didn't want to. And the makeup girls, they couldn't stand him either. There's a cage area where they would keep the props, and Jimmy Savile would often go in there, and he would be sitting with the props guys, who were mostly older men, and it was a seedy bunch. They said to me one day that he would go in there to ask for them to pick out the youngest and prettiest girls to send to his dressing room after.
Now then, I'm going to tell you a secret about the Top of the Pops cameramen in a minute, because we haven't got much time to... Oh, they're all going to... Whoa. Well, I know something that you don't know, and I know something they don't want to be told. I'm going to tell you a secret about the cameraman taking my picture now. When he's not actually taking pictures for transmission, he focuses on the young lady's legs and he has a private view all of his own. Isn't that naughty? So I said to our excellent floor manager, Mr. Peter, who was down there, I said, bring me a young lady to keep me company, and this is his choice, you see, because... I have just picked myself some fruit from Fleet, would you believe? Right, one for you, one for me.
He did have a type, because he would take the younger girls. He would take the girls who were still being dressed by their parents in sort of school sandals and ankle socks. He liked the young people that were as close as possible to children's age.
We have got a young lady. So if any of you gentlemen are watching on your own, this young lady is for you. You see this young lady here? I sort of said to her, do you want to come and sit with me on the beanbags? And she said, yes. And I said, you're not married, are you? And she said, oh, no. And she's just sitting here now, and she says, my boyfriend's sitting down there watching me. What a two-timer, goodness gracious. And give our love from Jim will fix it to everybody in Japan when you get back there.
Yes, we will.
She's so lovely, she's so beautiful and pretty. I don't think, explain to her, I do not think we will let her go back to Japan. I think we will keep her for ourselves. We keep you here all the time.
She wants to stay in London too.
She wants to stay. I've got myself a girlfriend. Wow. Listen, now then. As you can see, I have two young ladies. They look like a pair of bookends because they are identical, you see. And some weeks ago, my friend on the left here, I did say, it's one of my girlfriends. So she has something to say back, which is...
This is my boyfriend.
Oh, so she said it, you see. Good, you did well there. Just shift up there because it looks like I've added a girlfriend to my collection, ladies and gentlemen. Is there room for both of us in here? Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's all right, because you're not too fat, are you?
No.
No, that's all right then. Because you see, you're very pretty, isn't she? You're very pretty, aren't you?
Yes.
That other girl, she's left me for that singer in the other group now. You're all I've got left. Right. Typhoid, all right?
Thank you.
Wonderful. What, are you quite happy up there, are you? I'm glad about that. Stay there just now, OK. But this here Trina almost demanded to sit on my magic chair and go round like this. And all day she has done nothing but look me right in the eye just like that, you see. The whole day. Now, First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that it would appear that I've been adopted by my friend here, who has not left me alone all day and doesn't look like she's going to leave me alone all night. Well, now then, if a young lady wishes to carry a piece of wood, why not? Could I have my piece of wood, please? Please, thank you very much. People, OK? And if you want anybody to stick their finger in the dike, I'm the one, OK? Right. Now, I'm polishing up... What a strange way of going on, ladies and gentlemen. Polishing a python. My word. Would any of you like to polish a python up there? When young ladies dress up to come on top of the pops, ladies and gentlemen, we look after them indeed. Oh, a very self-possessed young lady. And how old are you?
11.
11. Right. Let's have a look at good one. Wow. Fabulous. Fabulous. What you got on, baby?
This is my design of an evening dress.
Wow. Yeah?
And if Xandro will help me, I'll take off the bottom layer and it'll become a party dress. I'll have a go.
Oh. What? Stripping on Jim will fix it. My word. Hey. How are you? We have never seen such beauty. Hush, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're enthusiastic, these beautiful ladies. We have never seen such beauty on such a stage of... It's delicious. I didn't think you'd get to meet Chewbacca, did you?
No.
And there he is sitting next to you now. But he's very sick. You don't eat little boys, do you? Do you eat little girls? Only sometimes. Oh, I see.
And I really liked it and became even more interested in politics.
I had a lot
Yes.
of trouble with her today.
Well, I'm sure she coped with you beautifully.
And there is your camera.
Hello, boys. How are you all? See you soon. And Sean and Jim, all the best.
What about the girls?
No girls in my ward. Everybody in the hospital, hello.
Oh, I see. Oh, well. If there's any girls anywhere in the hospital, I'll say hello to you, OK? I'd like to give the girls the Jim will fix it badges, if you would please, because I'm sure they'd
love to give the girls a Jim
much prefer you hanging them around the neck than me.
And a little
see?
kiss to go with it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. And how about...
that was a real sexy.
How about we've got some Alvin Stardust plunder here.
We're hearing the reports now of him putting his hand up girls' skirts and forcing his tongue down their throats. I didn't imagine that kind of thing, but I imagined something unpleasant was going on in there, that they, would have to do something nasty with him.
I'll tell you something. The fella could get used to all this. As it happened, he really could get used to it. So
Everybody knew that Jimmy Savile was a pervert. Everybody knew that's what he was, and that's what he was doing at the BBC.
A BBC inquiry years later reported that at the time, the young woman holding the flowers complained to a BBC employee that Savile had put his hand under her bottom. She was told not to worry. It's just Jimmy Savile mucking about. A senior staff member told the inquiry that they didn't realise anything improper was happening.
Everybody knew, and I would think that the older men, they all knew. They knew, because they would go into his dressing room with him after. They knew. There's no way they couldn't know. If I knew, they knew.
The inquiry cleared management, but criticised the BBC's culture of not complaining. Staff didn't speak up for fear of losing their jobs.
Maybe someone complained, but I would never have thought to complain. With what I saw, it was just what happened. To have a job at the BBC was a good thing, it was a good place to work, the pay was good. You were kind of there for life if you wanted to be, if you behaved. So yeah, you wouldn't put that at risk by raising something that was obviously so massive.
Johnny, talk to me. What am I up against here?
The seal on the envelope you found on Swifty? It belongs to the Brotherhood.
The who?
They were the original keepers of the darkness, Jackie. The Brotherhood is the holy fucking grail of secret societies.
The Epstein Files has given us more than just insight into the disgusting dealings of Jeffrey Epstein himself. It's revealed the biggest trove of evidence of elite collusion ever. Like seeing bugs writhing under a rock after the rock got moved because it's a pedophile or something. It looks like Epstein was deeply embedded in every major institution in our country. In tech, in finance, in charity, and even in politics and intelligence. And more importantly, he knew how to connect people between those fields. So despite people knowing full well about his hobbies, many people continued to work with him. I'm going to answer a few questions you've probably been wondering. What did Epstein offer that was so appealing that people were willing to risk the ethical and PR nightmare to work with him? And how did the Epstein network, in secret, shape the world we live in today? It's a story of the ultra-wealthy elites demanding and protecting their own freedom, their own wealth, and their own privacy, while infringing on everyone else's. Let's start out simple, with one of the names most associated with Epstein's crimes, Leon Black. Epstein's primary legitimate business was financial management. Rich people would give Epstein their money to invest, he'd advise them on how to protect their wealth from taxation and public scrutiny, and he'd take a little cut. One of Epstein's most prolific clients was Leon Black, the leader of Apollo Global Management, a major investment firm itself. Epstein was managing money for a money manager, like a barber's barber. But there are a lot of financial advisors and investors out there, and at least a few of them aren't registered sex offenders. So why Epstein? Was he particularly good at it? Well, he helped Black avoid over $1 billion in taxes. And in turn, Black paid Epstein massive fees. Some of the ways Epstein handled Black's money show his aptitude with hiding wealth and avoiding taxes. Epstein managed Black's charitable foundation, which was really a method of hiding Black's wealth from taxation. Epstein was paid in a similarly opaque way. Black transferred money to Epstein's foundation through the LLC Black had entirely for holding the ownership of his card collection. Jeffrey also managed Black's art collection, nearly $2.7 billion worth of valuable pieces, and heralded the strategy of storing cash wealth in art. Many of Black's owned artworks were kept in storage. No one got to even look at or enjoy them, not even Black. And they were used purely as financial instruments for bogus tax-deductible donations and as collateral for big cash loans. I spoke with Anand Giridharadas, who writes about the Epstein class for his outlet, The Ink. He explained why this is so frustrating even if you aren't a big art fan.
There's a kind of fantasy in America that we can't tax billionaires because it'll deprive all of us of ideas that are useful. Well, the emails provide a glimpse of what a lot of them are really thinking about, which is how to set up LLCs for the purchase of their paintings to avoid taxes, and how to pass on money to their kids so their kids become oligarchs too.
These loans are a big part of the extravagant lifestyle these people live. Loans you have no access to because you don't own a Picasso or whatever. The parallel world of the wealthy. But this is pretty standard rich people stuff. So again, why Epstein? Let's keep looking. There's even women in Epstein's orbit, like Kathy Rumler. Rumler is a high-powered lawyer who frequently communicated with Epstein and called him Uncle Jeffrey. She was a lead lawyer for Goldman Sachs and worked in the Obama administration. Epstein was there for her when Rumler interviewed for a job at Facebook, and Epstein bought her lavish gifts. And she also just really isn't a great person. But again, Rumler was already powerful when she met Epstein. What are any of these people really gaining from it? Let's look at another, Boris Nikolic. Nikolic was Epstein's in to the Gates Foundation. He served as Bill Gates' science and technology advisor and had frequent business and social contacts with Epstein. Yes, there are island visits and emails about girls, but there were also emails about using the Gates Foundation to hide money and direct untraceable donations. But Epstein was most obsessed with one form of charitable giving, the Donor Advised Fund. He chases creating a DAF over half a decade, like Howard Ratner chasing down that opal. Holy shit. Constantly bringing it up in every context. Donor advised funds are basically bank accounts that people can put money in and write off as a charitable tax donation. The fund is then supposed to donate that money to nonprofits, but technically never has to. The donations they do make are attributed to the fund itself, making the original donor completely anonymous. And years after Epstein was registered as a sex offender, many people were interested in creating a DAF with him. Boris Nikolic worked on pulling Gates into it, and bankers at JP Morgan helped him put together a pitch. And Epstein's emails are important here because they prove what we all assume. The point was never altruism. The point was tax avoidance and anonymity in donations. Epstein used his own charitable giving to fund out there science and to launder his image. His publicist put out numerous press releases referring to him as an education philanthropist and heralded him for bringing artificial intelligence to Ethiopia, which other emails confirm was a ploy to fix Epstein's Google search results, which were less than favorable. To dig in further, let's look at two more names that I'll pair together here. Tech billionaires from the PayPal mafia, who both went on to become major political donors, ostensibly on opposite sides. Reid Hoffman and Peter Thiel. This guy is in there too, but it really seems like he just wanted to go to the parties. Thiel and Epstein exchanged a number of emails and seemed to be close both personally and professionally. From investment advice, Thiel told Epstein not to invest in Spotify and only gave him a maybe to investing in Thiel's own company, Palantir. Eventually, Epstein invested millions in Thiel's venture capital fund, Valar Ventures, which means that Epstein had holdings in Stash Financial, Anduril, the autonomous killing machine company, something called Rat Inc., and other big tech companies. But Thiel's venture funds don't have a problem getting investors, so we still need to figure out what Epstein truly offered, and we'll get to that. Reid Hoffman also frequently communicated with Epstein, again both about money and just chillin'. Epstein advised Hoffman on large luxury purchases, tried to wrangle him into the DAF scheme, and Hoffman was generally one of Epstein's ins to Silicon Valley. In 2015, Hoffman invited Epstein to an intimate dinner with himself, Musk, Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, some neuroscientists, and a few others. Just months before over half that table would go on to found OpenAI, and AI was an interest of Epstein's. But this dinner epitomizes an important point here: the network. After PayPal, Hoffman created LinkedIn.
Reid Hoffman, an Epstein associate and founder of LinkedIn, has talked about in the future your career will be the network, not a job hierarchy.
And he, like Epstein, embodied the network. The network itself, not the individual people, is the key here. It's how they were all connected and what they all do for each other. And we can see that by using a new light. The kind of light you need when you're investigating this type of person, to see what they're really up to. It's connecting each other. And the less well-known people behind them maybe hold the real power now. Why did Peter Thiel want Epstein as one of his investors? Perhaps due to Thiel's many investments in defense and surveillance tech. Epstein had government connections and even introduced Thiel to William Burns, the one-time head of the CIA. Epstein also took the liberty of recommending Palantir to foreign officials in Israel and across the Middle East. One of Epstein's favorite tech investments was the Israeli tech company Carbine 911. Epstein helped connect the founders of Carbine with Trey Stevens, also of Palantir, who ended up on Carbine's advisory board. Carbine works to replace the 911 system with artificial intelligence.
Live video, precise location, complete situational intelligence.
With little to no oversight over how the calls are handled privacy-wise. They were purchased by Axon, the makers of tasers and body cameras, and have begun getting contracts across the United States. So next time you call 911, you could be directed to an AI stemming from Jeffrey Epstein in Israel. Lesser-known tech investors and CEOs like Epstein's publicist turned venture capitalist, Masha Drakova, communicated with him up until his arrest. Drakova's VC firm Day One Ventures, which she built with the influence, input, and advice of Epstein, owns parts of dozens of tech companies, including Sam Altman's surveillance and crypto tech company World, and Calypso AI, whose founder, Neil Cerebriani, Drakova introduced to Epstein. Cerebriani particularly seemed to have no issue with Epstein's proclivities. Emails show multiple mentions of girls, and Cerebriani brags about going to the porn convention in the context of he and Epstein's shared interests. Calypso AI is an AI surveillance company that has contracts with the United States government. Some of these people must have faced consequences, right? Well, yeah, our buddy Leon Black left Apollo in shame, but the new CEO, Mark Rowan, also communicated heavily with Epstein. Today, he's in the executive leadership of President Trump's Board of Peace, the organization responsible for continuing to annihilate the Palestinian people and replace their homes with private construction projects intended to enrich others in the Epstein network. The power of this network, what Epstein and the rest of them could do for the people in the network, is why you rarely see anyone emailing him like, hey man, you shouldn't be doing all this stuff.
In our networked age, there is a sense that if you can get yourself to the heart of a network like this, the world is your oyster. And at the same time, if you fall out of the network, it is a kind of death.
As long as your name is on the list, you cannot die. Most of the members are rich assholes with the power to protect Virgil's secrets. They lure in poor bastards like you to turn them into offerings. But once in a while, the chosen few are spared and given the chance to join the family.
I'm so glad we didn't kill you. It is so hard to find good help.
Bust your ass and you might climb up the ladder. Fuck up, and your name will be erased from the list.
To actually see the way they're functioning, this network, they're all on the same team. There's this very powerful network of people who lobby and buy power and buy access and rig the world against regular people. And we're down here thinking that the guy 2 doors down from us is the biggest obstacle to our progress. And in fact, the guy 2 doors down from you is often just another of their victims.
The Epstein network has billions of dollars, power, connections, planes, art, homes. But the most important thing they have is, and I'm sorry if this sounds corny, but it's class solidarity. And the story of this network doesn't end with Epstein's death. The Epstein class is still entrenching themselves into all aspects of our lives, taking us to a pointless war and trying to shape the elections that will determine America's future. We're still living in the Epstein network's world today. Leon Black's son, Ben Black, who Epstein hosted a birthday party for, and who Epstein hired a portrait artist for, is today in charge of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, a government body established during the first Trump administration that provides loans, capital, and insurance to American corporations abroad, using taxpayer dollars. That includes insurance for ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, a focal point of the Iran war. meaning a guy Epstein helped commission a painting of will decide which corporations get your tax dollars. As midterm elections approach, the Epstein network is plotting to seize further control of our government. Reid Hoffman has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to oppose progressive candidates in Democratic primaries. He often uses donor-advised funds to make those donations, a tactic Epstein recommended to him in 2016. And it's possible we wouldn't have today's AI intrusion into our lives without Epstein.
As his plan for replacing cash, checks, and credit cards with new personalized 666 barcode system were implemented, peace and order began to be re-established.
Wisconsin company claims it will be the first in the country to implant microchips in most of its employees. The technology is already being used in Europe. It replaces ID cards used to open doors and operate office equipment. But as Jamie Yuccas reports, the tiny chips raising some concerns about privacy.
By next week, more than 50 Three Square Market employees will have bionic hands with a credit card chip implanted near their wrist.
You just swipe your hand.
Basically, it's a serial number that is assigned to your credit card.
The company is offering the chips, which cost about $300 a piece, to its employees for free. The owner, Todd Westby, his wife and 2 children will also be getting microchipped.
You're not going to be tracking your employees around town to see what they're up to and what they're doing.
No, we will not. It's for entrance to the building, logging into computers, making purchases in our break room market, things of that nature.
Employees will now have 2 ways to get into the building. They can either use the traditional keypad with their ID number, or if they're microchipped, they can just use their hands and swipe. That will allow them to open the door.
Three Square Market makes vending machines with credit card chip readers. Experts wonder if this is all a publicity stunt and worry about the loss of privacy.
You want someone knowing every time you enter or leave a room or use a copy machine. There's a degree of autonomy that's lost with this, person-to-person, one-to-one tracking. You can never leave it behind. You can't really turn it off.
Three Square Market is working with a Swedish company to implant the microchips in its employees. Everyone wants to know how big it is. That's it, the size of a grain of rice. I'm told a professional piercer is the one who actually has to put it in. To take it out, though, it's like removing a sliver. The pain factor, by the way, is like getting your ears pierced.
Now, in tonight's program, our great world leader unveils Stage 2 of his plan for the perfect world. The amazing new 666 biochip implant, guaranteeing you physical health and spiritual well-being at the punch of a computer key. Plus the guarantee of lifelong security within the new 666 world order.
Watch out for 666. Watch out for 666.
In a vision of the future, I saw in a vivid dream that the hour is soon coming when men will become machines. A new one world order will rise and then demand that all the world's people receive their scientific brand. I saw a tiny free program, computer chips so thin, implanted in men's foreheads underneath their skin.
To this, instead of carrying your wallet in your back pocket or your purse, a tech company wants you to keep it under your skin.
All right, so let's explain here. Walletmore is selling microchips implanted in your hand as an alternate payment. Could this be the future? Maybe. Once you set up your card info in the company's app, look at this, it says payments could be as easy as swiping your hand over a card reader.
Men's thoughts will be programmed by this new technology. take the number, their slaves will always be. So hearken to this warning, if it's life and love you choose, then you'll follow the truth, and that mark you will refuse. Watch out for 666 and their computer chip. That is designed to strip you of your self-control. Watch out for 666 and their computer chip. That is designed to strip you of your self-control. Don't sell your soul. Don't sell your soul. Watch out for 666.
While I wasn't able to find any direct ties between Epstein and the heavy hitters like OpenAI or Anthropic, he did fund early AI research, including bankrolling the researchers who coined generative AI and AGI. He also made early investments in the infrastructure behind AI, like data center buildouts, that he never got to see come to fruition. Looking at these members of the Epstein class shows us that the conspiracy at the heart of our country's biggest problems aren't just about one man. It's about a network, a club of elites across every major industry, and both political parties, that have built a web of relationships with each other designed to keep the rest of us locked out.
I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen, there will be the most dire consequences for you and your family. Do you understand? Very well.
When do you feel this blatant turn towards the occult and witchcraft really took on its momentum?
Well, there's a cartoon called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Now, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe really broke the ground on this cartoon occultism.
We're going to play a little segment here showing the transformation of He-Man.
What you've just seen is He-Man being transformed. In fact, his name is Adam.
Yeah.
First man.
Interesting.
Until he's transformed, and then he becomes He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, by lifting his sword in the air and yelling by the power of Grayskull. Now, to understand this, we have to understand what Grayskull is. It is a castle built by unknown hands in the shape of the skull, and there's a demon spirit living within it that manifests in the shape of a skull. And so our good character is empowered by occultic demon spirits. In fact, I was talking to one lady, and I've heard a number of experiences like this, but she said, my little boy was in the back seat of the car, and a radio preacher came on and said, "Our Lord God, the master of the universe." And her boy jumped from the back seat of the car and said, "Mommy, God isn't master of the universe, He-Man is." Running around in circles saying, He-Man has more power than Jesus. He-Man has more power than Jesus. This is Tila, and this young lady is involved in witchcraft, and you'll notice that she's a very voluptuous looking thing, and they wear very tightly clad clothes and sometimes even negligee type things on the show.
So there's a sensuality about the toys also.
Yes.
There's several faces, the many faces in this little toy, which change, but you know, you can become a skeleton creature, and we could go around to the different faces. And this has got to have some kind of a message to the children.
Oh, definitely. It says you can be demon-possessed and still be good.
And Skeletor is this ugly-looking skeletal creature with a staff in his hand. Now, what's that staff that he's got in his hand?
The staff is a ram's head staff. Now, the ram's head is a very occultic symbol. It's boiled in cauldrons. It's used in different occult practices.
Of course, we know that the goat's head, the ram's head, represents Satan anyway in the occult. So little boys are really being programmed to evil.
People of Eternia, I stand before the great eye of the galaxy, chosen by destiny to receive the powers of Grayskull. This inevitable moment will transpire before your eyes, even as He-Man himself bears witness to it. all open. I, Skeletor, am master of the universe. Yes! Yes, I feel it. The power fills me. Yes, I feel the universe within me. I am a part of the cosmos. Eternity flows through me. Of what consequence are you now? This planet, these people, they are nothing to me. The universe is power! Pure, unstoppable power! And I am that force! I am that power! Kneel before your master! Fool! You are no longer my equal! I am more than man! More than life! God!
In the beginning, Satanists will entice a recruit with these three promises: power, drugs, and sex. Most teenagers recruited into Satanism are boys, drawn by the violent images and rituals, and by the fear they can cause in others. Yet without heavy involvement in drugs, most of these recruits would not be able to go on.
Most of the time, like I said, there's drugs involved. Just because you're taking drugs does not necessarily mean you're into Satanism. But 9 times out of 10, Satanists are into drugs.
I have not seen in my practice any adolescent who have gone to the cult activity without using drugs.
As a non-traditionalist begins to get deeper into drugs and more deeper into his known craft and seeking after the powers, he loses sight of reality completely. You're no longer dealing with human beings as you and I know them.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
I forgot that the world was real. I forgot that I'm human still. When there's nowhere else to run and the air burns in your lungs, 'cause you're so lost in the drugs and drinking. I forgot how fucked up that feels. I forgot that the world was.
What's the life expectancy, Michael Musto, of a club kid?
I'd say about 2 years.
2 years, then what happens?
They just fall through the holes of society, or they go on to something else. Either Michael Alig becomes tired of them, and they become out of favor.
Oh, do they fall out of style?
Yeah, or they do one too many Special Ks, which we could talk about.
Special K is the drug of the moment.
Cereal, no.
Right. Is it a horse tranquilizer?
It's been used as a horse tranquilizer or a painkiller in Vietnam.
And that's what the kids are taking now?
Yeah, you can spot them sort of banging their leg to try to get feeling into it, or trying to get out of a glass booth that they've imagined they're in.
Wow.
As opposed to ecstasy, which we talked about last time, where people are sort of biting their lips and hugging you.
All right, now, you club kids indicate by, you can raise your hand, how many of you will admit to taking Special K? Come on. Oh, here they are. There's a couple of honest ones here, but I see a little pinkies going up and down. But Special K, where do they get it? I mean, it's obviously not imported from Colombia. It's made in a chemist's lab, is it?
You can get it at the basically.
You can get it at the big clubs?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. They might as well set up a vending stand where
It's really that obvious?
Yes.
The owners, of course, say that's not so.
Well, they're liars.
Was it all a dream? I couldn't feel a thing. Those pills put me to sleep. Why'd you wake me up? I forgot that the world was real.
Drugs, sex, power. These are the enticements Satanists use to lure teenagers. Another is music, specifically heavy metal or black metal.
I think music has always been a powerful media all the way through. I mean, music was important to you and me, and it's important to the teenagers today. And we're not anti-heavy metal, but we're anti the heavy metal message that is causing death and destruction. And the symbols that they're using are so blatantly occultic that it's very difficult for us to overlook that kind of thing.
Of Christianity, and we will no longer be oppressed by the fascism of beauty. Because I see you all sitting out there trying your hardest not to be ugly, trying your hardest not to fit in, trying your hardest to earn your way into heaven. But let me ask you, do you want to be in a place that's filled with a bunch of assholes?
For instance, if we take the album cover from Slayer's album, Rain and Blood. It depicts a message to young people that maybe consciously they don't receive, but subconsciously they're receiving this message. On the front of this album cover, Satan is depicted as a goat, which is very familiar to the Satanists. They know that that would be, the goat would represent Satan.
Take me not for some fool. Take me not for some fool. I speak thy name to the darkest ones. I speak thy name to the darkest night. Take me not for some fool. Return the goat. 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 Return the goat.
And he is seated on a wooden throne. And the wooden throne is being supported by two people. Now, in the hand of this goat is a decapitated head. And of course, we're finding decapitated bodies all over America, and that is a common way for a Satanist ritual to occur, is to do the decapitation.
October 29th, 2022. Santa Fe Police Department got a disturbing 911 call. A mother told the police her son's girlfriend had decapitated a body in the garage.
Yep, we got it.
Upon entering, officers find Grace Jennings' body and a 3-foot sword.
Tell me about last night. What did you do last night?
Hey, stay off the radio right now. Yeah, we got one down. It's on Facebook.
It looks clear. He's right here by the door. There's way too much trash. Unless we can open that back door, that garage. Can we open the garage from that side?
We have Isaac on the phone. Want to know if you guys need him? I guess he's the boyfriend.
I invited her last night without even telling me.
Where's he at?
I got really pissed off, of course. But why would she be here if he invited her last night?
Let me try to
she came over today? She was here last night and I left the house. The building. That's why you were in the house most of the night. Yeah. So I was angry. She stayed the night? Yeah. In my house? Yeah, and I'm pissed about it. Grace is not allowed here. She knows that. If they're tall and skinny, then it's going to be Grace. If they're tall and bigger, then, Isaac's a big guy. He's hard to miss. He's 6'2".
Who's Isaac's girlfriend?
She is.
Seen here is 20-year-old Kiara McCulley. The suspect shares the residence with her mother and ex-fiancé Isaac Apodaca.
What are you to Isaac?
Well, I'm kind of mother-in-law to be.
This is your daughter?
Yes, this is my daughter.
Step out with me real quick. What's your name?
Kiara.
Kiara? Do you have shoes on?
No.
Okay.
I don't know where my shoes are.
This is his girlfriend.
Try for me quick.
Can I get some shoes on or something?
No, not right now.
Do you get some shoes for her? We need 10 at this point, okay?
Hi. My question. Did you guys have a fight or something?
Is there anybody else?
Can she sit down so I can put her shoes on her feet? What did you do? And Isaac went for a walk? Yeah. So he was going for a walk in the shower, but they were going to go on a walk.
Hey, so she went back in there, so you want to seal this up as well? Okay.
She was in the shower.
Okay. So nobody's going back in the house and nobody's going back in there, okay?
I was kind of like, oh, sounds like a prank call.
Yeah, that's what I thought initially. That caught me really off guard when I opened that door.
Well, things that I see here in the site.
I thought it was a... Huh?
She's got her ears chopped off.
No, I didn't see that.
This is a crime scene at this point.
That was my house crime scene.
There's a deceased person in your garage. That's why it's a crime
There's
scene.
a body in there?
Yes. Stand up for me. Let's walk this way.
Kiara is taken to the station. The other officers track down Isaac, who also called 911 after his mother did.
Is that Isaac? Did you call us, bro? Here, come over here. You're good. Come here. You don't have any knives, any weapons on you? No. No? Just put it down for now. Just put it down. You're not in trouble, bro. Gotta make sure you don't have any weapons, okay? Here, put your hands up right here. Right here. Here, for now, bro, just because it looks like your girlfriend or whoever's in there is really injured. So for now, we're gonna put you under detention, okay, until we can figure this out. You're not under arrest. So can you tell me How did this call transpire? How did you call us?
I walked into the garage. I walked into the garage, and when I walked into the garage, she goes, "Oh, I just did it." And I'm like,
and who was this?
Kiara McCulley.
She told you that?
Very calmly and everything, blood on her hands. And
so what happened, man?
I was in the house, and then I walked into the garage, and she goes, "Okay, I did it."
That's what Kiara told you?
Yes. I looked at the ground, and there was somebody there, and I didn't touch them or anything. I looked at them and I was like, this is too traumatic for me. I'm not okay right now because I'm freaking out.
No, it's understandable, man. I understand.
Remember when you told me don't be a when I kissed you? Yeah, brat. We will have to take care of the mess ASAP after we finish. We will have to take care of the mess. I thought she already pooped herself. What mess are you guys taking care of?
I don't know.
Remember, you'll move up the ranks, plus you get perks in the black market since this is your first. Your first what? Isaac, what the hell happened? Tell me what happened, for real?
While Isaac poorly tries to lie about the messages on his phone, the detective moves on to Kiara.
Well, any idea why you're here today?
I believe it's because somebody was found dead in my room.
Where's your room at?
In the garage.
The garage?
Yes. I was trying to make sure this wasn't a freaking dream again. It feels so weird.
You believe someone was found dead in your room. Do you have any idea who that might be?
Well, so I'm really tired, but last night Isaac invited my ex-girlfriend, Grace Jennings, who now is going by Yamko. I don't know anymore.
Can we stop making up lies about these messages? What the hell happened last night?
She was messaging me on planning on how to kill her, and...
Who was messaging you planning on how to kill who?
Kiara.
Kiara was messaging you on planning how to kill...
Grace.
Grace?
Yes.
And what were you doing?
I was only sending a message back, only in correspondence. I just wanted to sleep.
Because you're talking about killing her here, right?
I was...
What else could this mean? Remember, you'll move up in the ranks, plus you get perks in the black market since this is your first? What else would you be talking about here?
I was trying to talk about something else, because I'm trying to get my mind off.
Isaac, really? You're trying to talk about something else there?
Yes.
So I was talking to Isaac for a long time earlier before you, and we were going through his phone. He had his phone running. There was a lot of messages between you two.
Yeah.
What were all those about? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Just like in this kind of foggy area that I kind of remember.
Yeah.
This might sound really weird. So, there's an organization that Isaac is in charge of. I probably shouldn't be saying this to a guy.
I saw the messages about it. I'm just trying to understand it more, you know?
Well, it's called Ghost. They're like an underground version of cops in a way, but a little more intense and deadly. And like, he kept trying to tell me, just do it, and you're gonna just kill her.
How do I aim? How do I aim right? Just aim. Well, tell me what you're talking about there.
That's Call of Duty.
That's Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. Tell me when. Okay, I'll give a count. 6, 5, I can't yet, dude. 4, I'm shaking, dude. I know, I lose the nervous. Help me drive it through. Help me drive it through? What do you mean, help me drive it through?
She was asking me to do
stab her?
Yes.
I'm going to pretend to sleep so it looks non-conspicuous. Ooh. Tell me about all that.
Then you'll get ranked up.
Yeah.
Because he had me join. And I'm like, I don't know what the f***'s going on, and I kept hesitating. It's like...
What's that thing there?
It's the mark for, honestly, I'm very confused because he hasn't told me jack shit. He just gave this to me, and it's like, you're a part of it. I'm like, okay.
So if you can't do it, I'll have them do it, and it will still count as your first. I'll just rewrite the report and submit it to the black market heads. What is this report you're going to write to the black market heads? What are you talking about? Don't tell me this isn't you messaging. I know this is you messaging. Be transparent and tell me what's going on here.
The report with the black market heads was something I have been writing down, and I'm trying to leave. It was something I'm trying to leave behind.
Tell me more about that.
It was a group of dangerous people that I was associated with. And they needed a report, and when I said this was your first on the report, it'll still count as your first. I was telling her, because as I was texting it out, she came and talked to me after she had stopped prodding me. She had talked to me and said, so what now? And I was like, this is going to be your first way out. If you just leave this alone, just stop.
Oh, you were telling her just to stop?
Yes. And she didn't listen.
Okay.
Is she alive or dead?
Grace?
Yeah.
You don't know?
I'm not sure.
What do you think?
Well, I'm partially hopeful for her to be dead, but I'm also, like, confused. I'm, like...
Why would you hope that she's dead?
I'm still angry at her, but I also have hope that she'd be better, but it's like this frustrating emotion that I can't seem to pinpoint. So part of me hates her guts. It wants to see her dead. The other part wants to see her get better and see if she'd admit it and just fix it.
Kiara, let me do this. I'm using Zira? What's Zira?
That's the sword.
Oh, Zira's the name of the sword?
Yes.
And then you say, and deposit your Bitcoin in your crypto wallet. Payment? Some kind of payment? Bitcoin crypto wallet?
It was to get her to shut up.
Because I'm trying to figure out if he's been lying to me.
Yeah.
Talking about the black market and ghost and Bitcoin and the end of the world in 24 days.
So you thought about killing Grace a number of times?
Yep. I have dreams about it all the time, and I'm like, I wonder what this would look like in my brain.
Aside from, have you ever planned to hurt Grace or kill Grace?
Not really planned it, more like wrote a short story about it. But then I also changed all the names and genders and stuff, so I just wanted her gone.
You say okay. You say, want the barn, because you'll get to have a lot of fun with your hunt. And the screams cannot be heard, soundproof walls. What screams cannot be heard? What soundproof walls?
I started talking about a joke, a movie.
Oh, this is about a movie now.
This is a movie.
Okay, middle of nowhere. Think you killed Grace?
I'm not sure.
Well, what you say here is, I am saying just swing and don't regret the aim. So tell me what that means. Just swing and don't regret the aim.
It was me telling her if she was going to do something, she should do it, and I didn't want to be a part of it. I had all my stuff.
What is holding you back? She is dead. as the dead person we found in the garage. Has Isaac ever killed anyone?
Well, he said he did, but I don't know if it's true.
Who did he say he killed?
I don't know who, but there was a number he said, but I don't know if it's true or if it was stupid teenagers who were always saying, oh, I killed this baby, oh, I killed this baby, well, I'm so cool. Grace did that a lot.
There was a number he said, like a number of people he killed?
Yeah.
How many?
40.
40 people?
Supposedly.
It's a big claim.
Yeah. Okay. Calm down. Calm down.
So, you said there's a possibility that you might have killed Grace. Also a possibility that Isaac might have done it, right? There's kind of that gap of time missed in your memory.
It's confusing.
Good night. I know it hurts, I just want you to do it so you can feel the rush of adrenaline. What do you want her to do so she can feel the rush of adrenaline?
To go to sleep.
You want her to go to sleep so she feels the rush of adrenaline?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I wasn't having it anymore.
Okay. I just need help, is what she says. You are doing nothing again, she says. You say, yes, I want to help, but I cannot aid you. I can coach you what to do. You can coach her what to do? What do you mean by coach her?
Telling her to go to bed.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out if this one vision was from my actual dream I was having because I was falling asleep, or if it was a memory.
What was the vision?
I'm not sure. It looked like an ear on my wall.
Huh? Yes, she's got her ear chopped off.
A what?
An ear on my wall. It was really confusing.
There's an ear on your wall?
Yeah. I think that was part of the dream, though.
Like a human ear?
Yeah. It's like, what the
What did it look like?
It looked like one of Grace's, but it had like dagger in it, and the dagger's not that sharp.
Yeah.
Like, what the
There's probably a good potential that both you and Isaac go to jail today. You understand that?
I've never been to jail, I've never done anything. Now, going to jail for murder.
Yeah.
That was a leap.
And so he's holding this decapitated head, which emphasizes the bloodletting ritual and the murder. And then the throne is lifted up and being carried on the shoulders of two men. The man in the foreground is wearing a mitred hat, which we know to be the hat of a pope. And so that man represents organized religion or the church. Behind him is another man who is carrying the throne of Satan not only on his shoulders but across his neck, like the stocks would have him in bondage. And that man has horns and a forked tongue. And when you look at that, you think, oh, this is one of Satan's demons. And yet, if you look carefully, his hands are very prominent in the picture, and they have nail marks in them. And the only man depicted throughout history with nail marks is Jesus Christ. And so what this thing is saying to them is that Christ and the church will support the rise of Satanism, and in addition to that, then there's the sea of blood that is flowing into a huge sea below Satan, that all the faces are down in the sea that he has taken captive and have become his victim. And the very in the forefront, there's a face that if you take that face and put it up against the face of George Washington, you'll see that they're almost the same. I mean, they're so identical. And so what we're saying here is that Satanism is going to take over our country, and that it is going to be brought in and supported by Christ himself and the organized church. That is blatant evangelization and propaganda being shared with thousands of young people through music. I think the greatest tool to desensitize America has been media in general, whether it is television, whether it's toys, games, or whether it is music. They all have played an important part.
They all carry a message, don't they?
Absolutely. And of course, in the life of the teenager, the two single most factors that we see is music and a game called Dungeons and Dragons. And then, of course, trailing very closely behind that and vying for the position is the amount of occult information that is put out through the videos, the movies, the TV shows. We went into a very small store, David. This was, I mean, maybe as big as we're sitting here. This was a small set. We found 119 videos on the occult in one small store. And we have a video in America that is on our shelves that has been banned in 46 countries. And it was so popular, it has Faces of Death, Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in that video, it shows everything that is gruesome, grotesque, everything that you would never want to see or hope your child would never see in the way of death scenes, including some decapitation occult rituals.
Parents should be alert to the warning signs that show their kids are involved in the cults. Besides the music, there are the clothing, jewelry, and symbols used.
This is not a phase. Know what your young people are doing. Talk to your young people. Communicate. Don't fluff it off. Check everything. There's nothing wrong with asking them where they're going, what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with checking out their music and books they're reading. The parents need to care and communicate.
Satanists entrap young people in several ways. At sex parties, they take snapshots of their victims for use of blackmail, or they'll involve the unsuspecting victim in their darkest rituals, perhaps animal or human sacrifice. They will get the teenager to offer his blood or even a finger to Satan. Blackmail and even outright threats keep a teenage victim in line. Some victims see suicide as their only escape. The tragic legacy of Satanism.
The message I like to give to parents is that be close to the children. Understand them, talk to them, communicate with them. Always find a time where you will make a point to go to their room or sitting in the living room and talk about their school, their friends. 10 to 15 minutes each day is more than enough. Although everybody will surprise, 10-15 minutes, that's all you're asking? Yes, because they don't talk even 5 minutes in weeks. So 10 to 15 minutes. That's first thing. Second thing is that at least once in a month, try to have a family gathering, not extended family, just 3-4 children, have a picnic or go out somewhere. Half an hour, 1 hour. It gives them a feeling of belonging, a relationship.
In addition to the personal involvement parents can have in their kids' lives, people can also work against Satanism at the community level. Many schools and organizations now offer seminars on Satanism. Some communities have gone even farther than that.
Recruitment is a major part of Satanism, but it's one of the most instantly denied things by the Satanists. And yet it's such a problem that even on our public school campuses, now school boards are having to take direct action against it. I'm reading from the Carl Sandburg High School 1989-1990 Student Parent Handbook. On page 29, it deals with policy, and I want you to hear this. The Board of Education hereby finds that the presence of Satanism and related activities has surfaced in society and that such practices, when present or urged upon other students, cause material interference within a public high school district in that such practices foster anti-social values and attitudes and endangers the health, safety, and welfare of students. Carl Sandburg High School is the #3 school academically in the United States. It's in Chicago. Now listen, no student shall engage in any Satanism-related activity, including, but not limited to the following. Number 1, soliciting others for membership in any satanic group or participation in any satanic-related ritual or practice, inciting other students to act with physical violence upon any other person or living thing. Thirdly, they are not permitted to wear, use, distribute, display, or sell any clothing, jewelry, emblem, badge, sign, or other item which is commonly associated with the affiliation with or practice of Satanism. What I'm trying to say to you is, these 3 areas of recruitment, high school campuses, military bases, daycare centers, I'm most obviously connected with, first, the high school campus, and then secondly, the military base. My point, though, is that so much activity is now taking place that school boards are having to enact policies and how to deal with it.
President Kennedy makes news on many fronts in his weekly press conference. To reporters crowding the State Department auditorium, he restates America's stand against any Red China threat to Quemoy and Matsu Islands. He discusses his trade expansion and Medicare programs. Asked his opinion of the Supreme Court decision banning prayer in schools, the president says,
"Well, I haven't seen the measures in the Congress, and you'd have to make a determination of what the language was and what the effect it would have on the First Amendment. The Supreme Court has made a judgment. A good many people obviously will disagree with it. Others will agree with it. But I think that it is important for us, if we're going to maintain our constitutional principle, that we support Supreme Court decisions even when we may not agree with them. In addition, we have in this case a very easy remedy, and that is to pray ourselves. And I would think that it would be a welcome reminder to every American family that we can pray a good deal more at home, we can attend our churches with a good deal more fidelity, and we can make the true meaning of prayer much more important in the lives of all of our children. That power is very much open to us. And I would hope that as a result of this decision that all American parents will intensify their efforts at home.
This isn't relegated to the big city of Chicago only. Here's something you should see from a town in our community, Arlington, Texas.
Well, this Halloween, you might see a scarecrow in the halls of Arlington schools, but you won't see kids wearing scary costumes. The school district is banning skulls, witches, brooms, and the like because of parent concerns that some Halloween costumes can be linked to devil worship and satanic cults. Channel 4's Ken Capps has more on that story.
Playful screams on Arlington playgrounds mean back to school and recess. But there won't be any shrieks or screams by these kids clothed in goblin garb this Halloween. Ghosts and skeletons and other scary characters are expelled.
And when you see children in elementary levels coming with Freddy Krueger and their fingers have the knives or whatever he has, and the grossness of the costumes, we thought we can do better than that.
Atherton Principal Shirley Cole has her kids decorating a school display area with pressed leaves and a stuffed scarecrow. Autumn, not Halloween, will be emphasized. Kids in Arlington will still dress up on October 31st, but they'll be playing the parts of their favorite book characters. October is book month.
This is our Halloween special from New York, and have we got a show for you tonight. Little did anybody realize back in the early 1970s what an impact four men from New York would have on the rock scene in this country. Since 1974, K.I.S.S has produced a gold album with every single album they've recorded. 11 out of 15 albums have gone platinum. They are known for the incredible illusions and theatrics during their performances. The drummer goes 30 feet up in the air and turns around. The bass player grunts, groans, flies 40 feet up in the air and spits blood. The lead guitarist sets off fireworks and smoke illusions and blows up his guitar, and the rhythm guitarist crashes his own guitar into eensy, teeny tiny pieces, and he passes them out to the audience at the end of the concert, and the audience takes them home and trades them for food. K.I.S.S is best known, however, for their mythical personas on stage, the wild makeup, the spectacular costumes, the superheroic posture, and they're all here tonight. Now, let me tell you something. These four young men walked in here this afternoon about, 4 hours ago, carrying 8 enormous sacks filled with all their outfits, their shoes and their chokers and their capes and their jewels and their paraphernalia and their makeup. And I cannot believe that they would spend all this time because they're not going to perform here tonight.
Kenny, how long did it take to get your outfit together and also comp? How long does it take you to dress every evening?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It takes me 2 hours to get ready when I'm going to work on the door. If I'm going to do an extra look, then it takes about 3.
But rather get into themselves. That's what we like to do. Or get people into themselves. So they did this for us, and I'm so appreciative of this. And they'll all be out here in just a second. Now, here are the remarkable members of K.I.S S. And first of all, Mr. Gene Simmons, who is the bass player, who is the bass player. Mr. Peter Criss, who is the drummer. Mr. Paul Stanley, who is the guitarist. And Ace Frehley, who is the lead guitarist.
I'm the trap player.
Now, tell how this started, because Gene came in and he said, I didn't know I played bass. And I said, well, I see Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live with the bass fish, and then you say the trout player.
I have to excuse it. Bass.
Bass. Never a bass player. Never a bass player. What would happen if you went out on stage for a concert and you didn't set off the fireworks and you didn't break up the guitar and you didn't have the smoke and the fire and the blood and all that, and you just came out and did your thing? What would they come to the concert?
It would still be a rip-roaring rock and roll show, because what we do when we go out there is we don't stand still when we play our instruments. We run around and pretty much raise hell. Can we say that on TV?
Yes, you can.
Well, we raise hell.
TV. I have medals from, early days in high school, track, and I'm sure we're four very athletic young gentlemen.
No, I
think incredible.
Yeah, this is our thing. Going out like this. So if we didn't go out like this, a lot of people would be really disappointed, because KISS is known for the big show. So why shouldn't we go out and do what people expect?
How does what you do now in concert, what we saw on the videotape, and I'm assuming that that's reasonably recent, how does it differ from when KISS first went out on stage? Did you come out with this tremendous energy right from day number one?
The energy was there, the equipment wasn't. We used to go out and we wanted everybody to think we were famous and that we were very big, so we used to have amplifiers that were empty because we couldn't afford speakers.
I remember that.
We'd pile them against the walls, and we'd tell the lighting man, don't put a light on them, because you could see these circles. Right through them, right? You could see where the speakers were. The energy was always there. When we used to play little clubs, we started out playing in Amityville, Long Island, and we always said, this is the garden. Every night we play.
Peter said this was the garden. I want some credit for that.
In fact, I remember opening up for lots of bands that had half the equipment. Oh, I see there's a live human being over there. Half the equipment. Right here in front of us.
Wait a second. The KISS phenomena does not stop with sound. There are KISS games, lunchboxes, toys, pinball machines, and soon to come is KISS World, a traveling amusement park. It all adds up to an incredible organization with millions of dollars and millions of fans, and here they are.
I know you wanted me to stay, but I can't ignore the crazy visions of me in LA. I heard that there's a special place where boys and girls can all be queens every single day. I'm having wicked dreams of leaving Tennessee. Here's Santa Monica, I swear it's calling me. Won't make my mama proud, I'm gonna cause a scene. She sees a baby girl, I know she's gonna scream. God, what have you done? You're a pink pony girl, and you dance at the club. Oh, mama, hey, I'm just having fun. On the stage in my heels, it's where I belong.
Lila has a problem now with her parents. They, I guess, threw you out of the house?
Well, they saw my picture in the Post, and they gave me an ultimatum.
Tell us about the picture in the Post.
I was at a club, and I had electrical tape on my chest in a bodice. Everything was covered. They took my picture for the Post.
Oh, here's the picture in the Post, right?
And they gave me an ultimatum. They had no idea, I'd been going out and dressing outrageously. They gave me an ultimatum. Either I go to church on Sunday, Bible study on Thursday, and stay home, and they'll take care of me, or I get out. And 3 days later, I packed my bags and moved in with my roommate, Wallpaper.
Your roommate's name is Wallpaper?
Yes.
Does Wallpaper have a last name? I don't know. Sticky or floral?
Wallpaper.
Oh, I say Wallpaper. I'm so slow.
Reasons why I left it all. I take my wicked dreams, the gift from Tennessee. Here's Santa Monica, again too good to me. Will make my mama proud. I've got a cause to say. She sees a baby girl. Why does she gotta scream? God, what have you done? You're a pink pony girl, and you dance at the club. Oh, mama.
So many women come up to me and say, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. I'm like, darling, come on over, I'll paint you up, I'll lace you up, and you will be beautiful too. Let me just pull up this side thing.
Inhale, son, inhale.
Hello, I've done had a baby, right? My parents are fantastic and are just such a strong support system for me, my whole family.
I think that's good enough.
Got a little skin showing.
So, Mom, I appreciate you helping me out, and sorry to
No problem.
do this to you on such short notice. And then I'd maybe get you into the action, too. You can...
Oh, you want me to put my foot on your back?
Hell, turn me into a size 4.
A size 4? I'll
Okay,
take
here we
you
go.
size 0.
Well,
he gets right to a point where it looks like he needs a little bit more to get him the big step up, you know? And it looks like he's really on the road now, after all these years of really working, because he spent hours and hours and hours of just dance. It's quite a thing. I'm very proud. Very, very proud.
I got a new rock group for you, Tody. This is their latest album, which I'm going to show the camera right here. But before we see them perform, I want you to meet one of the members of this act close up. Here from K.I.S. is Gene Simmons.
Excuse me while I spread my wings.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead. Hey, can we do a close shot of the shoes, please? Look at these shoes. I mean, let's turn them this way so we can see them. That is something.
Incidentally, he's up for adoption.
I refuse, Tony.
Gene, what are you?
I'm really just a member of K.I.S., you know?
Who dreamed this up, this get-up?
We all did.
How many members in the
group?
group?
There are 4 members. You know, your audience really looks appetizing.
Oh, really? Are you a bat?
Yes. Actually, what I am is evil incarnate. And some of those cheeks and necks look really good.
Strip away to life the automobiles, the antibiotics that keep us one step ahead of death, and we are left with pathetic, frightened little creatures, wandering in a cruel and hostile world. So we fear the gods, demons, devils, bats, banshees, angels, vampires. Yes, as a matter of fact, vampires. It is those answers born out of fear, that we are here to study. It's interesting that you should all turn out here tonight in overflow numbers. Is it that, like primitive man, you're still filled with fear? With a nameless dread that you cannot shake? Death. Who are you?
Anita Jacoby.
Death has been the chief dread. The one obsessive preoccupation of man since he first crawled from the caves. Of all the animals, only man is aware that as surely as he was born, he will someday die. The individual who can inflict death has the complete respect of the other man. They are in awe of him.
What's... Why the costume? Why the costume? I can tell he's your type, Tony. I can just tell.
I really liked her bad formation. Open up, Tony.
Is your mother watching today? I hope so.
Yes,
Would it be funny if under this he was just a nice Jewish boy?
You should only know.
Where you?
I do. You can't hide the hook.
This has only been a test of your emergency broadcast system to see if you motherfuckers are really listening. This would have never been really played on the radio. It's a takeover.
Your relationship with your mother is very complicated. You know, she's been advised by professionals that she should have nothing more to do with you. She should relocate somewhere where you have no idea where she is, change her name, necessary, and sever all links with you. That professionally is their advice to her. She's refused to act on that advice and describes what she has for you as unconditional love. What do you make of your mother's decision to stand by you?
It astounds me, the fact that she can still love me and the fact that she still cares for me and stands by me. It astounds me every day.
Ted, as you would imagine, there's tremendous cynicism about you on the outside, and I suppose for good reason. I'm not sure that there's anything that you could say that people would believe. Some people would believe. Yeah. And yet, you told me last night, and I've heard this through our mutual friend John Tanner, that you have accepted the forgiveness of Jesus Christ and are a follower and believer in Him. Do you draw strength from that as you approach these final hours?
I do. I can't say that
it's going to be
being in the valley of the shadow of death is something that I've become all that accustomed to, and that I'm strong and nothing's bothering me. Listen, it's no fun. It gets kind of lonely, and yet I have to remind myself that every one of us will go through this someday in one way or another, and countless millions who have walked this earth before us have. So this is just an experience which we all share.
Yeah.
Here I am.
I'm a bad man. I'm one bad motherfucker. If you want to try your luck, better call your God and your mother. I'm a bad man. Don't test me, don't stumble, 'cause I'm a bad man. Oh, one bad motherfucker.
You know, the only thing that matters is the ending. It's the most important part of the story, the ending. And this one is very good. This one's perfect.
'Cause I'm a bad man. Oh, one bad motherfucker.